In row 2, this is one of the stoutest fields I think we have here. Take a look at Mike Wyke all the way back in row number 4 as we work our way back through rows 5 and 6. Al Mitchell and Mickey Lawson have been in there every week having at it. The Doc, row 7, Howard Whitaker, Bob Musgrover, lots of big names. Here's the points. Shook up a little bit last week. We told you about that. James Hines, Danny Bost, Mike Wyke, Randy Dakota, they all flipped them around. We're green flag and racing with the old guys.
Make that sound so ancient.
Well, just because you're at the age of 40. Those of us at the age of 30 think you're a long way off. Down into turn number 3. Off of 4, Jackson, Hines, Bost, Dakota, your top 4.
Darrell said he had a hard time getting his tires to match up to the pavement. He was really hoping that he'd worn this set in to where they would act more like racing slicks than regular street tires, which is exactly what they run on these cars.
That's your battle for 5th. You're looking at Roger Simons in the 10H, the Husqvarna backed entry.
As he cuts through the field.
Ooh,
sorry.
Starting early, folks.
I've been waiting on that one all season, but he had to pass somebody for it to use it.
Mike Wyke is in the silver bullet number 7. Al Mitchell's in the red number 9. There's your leaders. Coming off of 4.
Danny Bost looking to improve his position as he gets all over the back of Hines coming off of turn 2.
Jackson trying to be as smooth as he can up front. The one thing you don't want to do in one of these cars is lose momentum. You lose a little bit of momentum and they will be all over you from behind.
Darrell Jackson, full car length. Jimmy Hines, the leader in points, looks to the inside of Jackson, makes it stick, and he's got him stuck on the outside.
Boy, Jackson comes right back at him, though. These two are teammates. Bost is going to get in the middle of it. He's going to take over second place in the 2B.
A lot of synchronicity there with those teammates. They were weaving in and out of each other and allowed Danny Bost to slip right in there. Here he goes to the point.
The fireworks are beginning in the Masters division now as Bost bumps his way up to the front.
Thought I caught a glimpse of that little silver car back there with Mike Wyke tearing his way to the front.
And Randy Dakota is in tow, and there you see Mike Wyke. Now, Mike has really been under weather. Oh, boys, he tries to get to the inside of Jackson. That's your battle for 3rd.
Now, talk to Mike. He said he's about 90% now, Ralph. So he really has been under the weather and racing sick, and he had a ball joint break last week, but he's ready to go now.
He's driving like it, too, as he tries to get to the outside of Jackson. He's going to have to cut to the inside. Here he comes. Can't get him there.
He's setting it up, though. Mike's got the car. It looks like it's handling well enough. If he can stick it under there and find an opening, he'll get around Darrell Jackson.
Oh, here it comes, Doug. Oh, he saw it. Jackson just had enough room left to shut the door. You can look in the cookie jar, but you can't grab one. Down into 1. Still can't stick it in there. Randy Dakota just waiting.
Keeps looking for that opening, and I think Dakota may just be sitting back there, and he's going to let Mike pry open the door, and he'll come in and follow him.
Mark Arrow, you got something for us on Mike Wyke? Danny Bost battling with James Hines. We'll get to Mark in a moment.
That's a battle for the second spot here, or rather first, rather.
That's the lead battle. Look at Bost bang his way again to the front.
That's twice that he's gone up there and uprooted Hines and taken away the lead.
The one thing about Legends Car Racing, when you race like that, you must be willing to have it dealt back at you. And you can be sure that James Hines has no problem with using the bumper to help get through the field. The 19 car going a lap down, Howard Whitaker.
And, of course, Danny Bost's goal, whenever they drop the green, he says, I always want to beat Mike Wyke.
Well, he's going to have to deal with James Hines and Darrell Jackson right now. Hines retakes the lead. Jackson has to settle for 3rd. Bost gets bumped out of the way.
That's the 4th lead change we've had here tonight. In just
big smoke out of our leader.
Trouble on the points leader as he is putting down a smoke screen on the backstretch.
Oh, let's see what Danny Bost can do with Mike Wyke, who is about to dispose of Darrell Jackson the hard way on the outside. Oh, he squeezed him.
Darrell Jackson made the front stretch get awfully narrow there for Mike Wyke.
James James Hines frustrated. His night is done. Probably his points lead as well. Mike White, boy, is he easy on the brakes there. He knew that door was going to shut in his face.
White trying to work his way to the inside of 65. That's Darrell Jackson. Of course, there's a season-long points battle waging with all of these drivers.
There you go. There you go, Mike White. That'll give him second, and he'll go hunting now for Danny Bost.
These two love to race each other. Danny loves to beat Mike whenever he can. And he's going to have to try to hold him off here for about a half dozen laps.
Down the backstretch, the 41 about to get a good look at this, Bill Cranfield. He moves over, lets the leaders by. Bost slips a little bit in four, Doug. That might be enough. Not this time.
Going to hold him for one more turn. I think maybe the next lap Mike has him set up about where he wants him because his car is handling a lot better in a lower groove.
Bost really slipping and sliding on the angle of the turns. Down into three once again. It pushes on him. White to the inside. Boy, now he switches to the outside.
He can't just concentrate on the front either. He's still got cars trying to contest that second place spot.
You can see White gets off the corner so much better. Lots of acceleration down the straightaways. Lots of bumping and banging going on as well as the white flag is out. Turns 3 and 4 are going to get real interesting.
It's all going to depend on how Danny handles Mike coming off of 3.
Here he comes down at him. Bost bumping and banging from the backside of White. Jackson waiting for him in third. Here they come to the checkered flag. It's Danny Bost.
Renee Dakota snuck in there and took away the 4th place spot. Darrell Jackson picks up 3rd.
Mike White gave Danny Bost everything he had, and the 2B picks up the win in round 4. We'll be back with more from Charlotte.
This isn't just hockey. This is roller hockey. Who needs ice? We've got wheels.
Yeah, even the puck has wheels.
You mean ball bearings. Man, this thing can fly. And we're a bit more civilized around here.
No fighting allowed.
Catch the New Jersey Rock and Rollers only on Sports Channel. It's not just hockey, it's roller hockey.
Saw that last night. Was it good?
It was really good. Really good. Well, the Chargers rolling out onto the racetrack. These are, there's no point standings with these guys. We don't want to do that with this series. This division is for drivers to get out there and just learn how to go racing. Here's a look at the names of the people. Frances Rosser with one of the better numbers, .08. She is a big supporter of the Don't Drink and Drive program, and .08 is exactly what the limit is in the state of North Carolina.
That's probably not a bad lesson on a holiday weekend.
Absolutely.
Wherever you are, no matter what state you're watching in, that's not bad advice. Francis works in the fiber optics telecommunications field.
Car number 92. There you see it just off the screen. It's a
This has
blue
been your
machine.
personal campaign here, Ralph.
Well, the Bass Bunch. There it is. The new Ice House back Sam Bass Racing entry. His younger brother Rick racing it right now as we storm down into turn number 1. Proud moment for the Bass Bunch, I know.
Sam Bass, probably the foremost motorsports artist around Winston Cup today. Tommy Pistone III riding there in second.
One of the neatest looking Legends cars I think I've ever seen, done up like a yellow cab. What a great looking ride that is. Our leader is the number 17. Should be Todd Laney, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so. Todd Laney on the point. Tiger Tom Pistone III riding in second. Now, last week,
Oh, Marcus Smith around.
slipped a little bit in the Burger King car. No caution. Last week, we said that Tommy Pistone had been disqualified, Ralph. Well, later on, they came back the next day. They said the part was not illegal. You could run that particular brake drum that they ran, so they had 2 third-place finishers in the Chargers last week and took away the disqualification.
Gordon Rayleigh, the number 5, picks up third, make that 4th place. So he sticks himself inside the 47, which is Jeff Turner. Of course, fighting back there for a good line. Some of the guys having a little trouble with their setups, it looks like. The 94 FM. This car is pretty interesting. Janice Humble. Nice looking ride.
Janice runs up a lot at, I think it's 411 Speedway and Lonesome Pine.
Virginia, right?
And up in Knoxville. And, this is one of her few forays down here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
It's a long tow. About 3 hours ago, Legends Car Racing on a Tuesday. Here's your battle for third.
Vance Arndt to the outside. Vance is pretty much a newcomer to Legends Car Racing, too.
Leaders dealing with traffic as they get around the 84 car, Brian Lee. Lee goes way to the outside.
This is Brian's first race tonight.
Brian's learned a good lesson already. Let the leaders through.
Get out of the way. Working around some more lap traffic. The 81 is also a brand new car that's, I think, has been raced twice at Concord, and the first time Dave Hawker's ever raced here in Charlotte. So a lot of newcomers, but that's what the Charger Series is all about. Come up here and get some experience. Ralph, an interesting story on Tommy Pistone III. This young man's a college student, 21 years old, but 5 years ago was diagnosed with cancer of the leg, very, very serious, and several operations, and he's had to recover from all of that, so quite a testimony to come back. Trouble on the backstretch here.
Big mess up in turn number 2. The 90 is Dickerson. Poor Jerry Dickerson. I don't think he's run one race with us where he's not torn up a race car.
Yep, Randy Humphrey is perched atop Dickerson's front here.
Let's see what happens. They get together. Now there's a little bit of tire that sticks out from those fenders, and you get those together, and that is what happens.
They just both got in there, got hooked together, and Humphrey wound up driving over the front of the Dickerson machine as they'll push them apart.
Looks like they're going to be able to drive away, too, and probably continue. Good news for Jerry Dickerson. He's probably happy not to have to fix another race car.
Since the first race we saw him this year, he was sliding upside down on his roof down the front stretch. He provided fireworks about 4 weeks early here. We're talking about Tommy Pistone, though. The young man's overcome a lot. He's a college student now over at UNCC, and hopefully has put that battle with cancer behind him for good.
Casual attitude as he rolls down the backstretch.
It is pretty nonchalant when you can put your hand out the window and just kind of tap it on top of the roof there.
For a young guy, absolutely.
Need to match up those wheels, though. Got that odd blue one there on the back.
Trust me, Gurr will get all over him about that.
I'm sure it's an off-color situation. Mark will address it immediately.
Especially when it's only one wheel. Look at that.
Hang on, Mark.
Well, let's touch in with Mark Garrow, who's with Jeff Craig. Another great story.
Jeff Craig was one of the top runners a year ago when he had a tough accident. You broke both of your hips, both of your legs, and it's really good to have you back. I know that when that happened, everybody in the garage area here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, they all pitched in and tried to help you with a speedy recovery.
Yeah, I really appreciate everybody for helping me out. It's been a hard comeback. Trying to get back in the groove, it's going to be a while, I think, before I get back in it.
How do you feel out here racing this first week back?
It's a little scary. I don't really have the leg muscle that I need to really drive that well.
Another testimony to some true grit, Jeff Craig. Guys?
Green flag, and we're back at it with 10 to go.
Great to see Jeff Craig back. 6 weeks in the hospital following a motorcycle accident.
There's Turner's 47 back there battling it out. Pistone still trying to catch up with our leader.
Laney's set a pretty good pace in this race tonight. He's been the leader since the drop of the green flag. And the 5-car of Gordon Whaley has just been waiting back there for one of these guys to make a mistake.
Laney just pulling away with it.
Some lights in that yellow cab though on the top there. That would be good. That would make the trick.
That would be good.
He's one of the first cars here when they open up the gates for practice. Tommy Pistone III is. They get here early and they set that car up and they're working the whole time.
There's Turner right there, and just in front of him, well, there's a 14 that's been running with him. That's Stuart Wheeler, who's been pretty strong here all summer long. And just in front of them, Doug, is the 01 car who's been slicing his way through the field right there. So the 01er Who's at the 10?
I believe that's Coy Gibbs.
Well, you know, I was wondering because Coy's car color was a lot different, but it looks like he's been doing a lot of work to get it straightened up, and look at how he's flying through the field.
Ralph, I think they're going to have new sponsors and new paint schemes on his car and his teammates' car, and they're going to unveil those in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's Coy in there. And he is challenging now for 5th or 4th, actually. I mean, he is coming. Look at that.
Of course, that's the youngest son of Joe Gibbs, the Interstate Batteries team owner, and the coach is here tonight.
Coy really doing a nice job. Very smooth behind the wheel of that car, which is a real trick to these Legends cars. You got a Yamaha FJ 1200cc motor as you look at the battle for the lead, and BF Goodrich CompTA street tires, so you have more motor than you do tire. And it's really hard to keep these things straight, so the driver who is the smoothest is usually the fastest. And look at the battle for the lead now starting to heat up as Pistone finally has found something for Laney.
So Tommy Pistone, the third, looks to the inside. That's where you got to make the pass.
There it is.
Laney went wide. Janice Humble makes it 3 wide through the turn.
Oh, I thought Pistone had him there for a minute.
Tommy's going to make one more run at it. He's a philosophy major. I wonder what philosophy he's following right now.
The 5 getting in the middle of all that. Gordon Rayleigh. He loses touch a little bit. Here's more traffic in front of the leaders, so this will probably help Pistone out again.
Got to give Laney a lot of credit, Ralph. He's taken Tommy's best charges, but here he comes again. Pistone gets into the turns better. Laney comes off of it better.
Well, and coming off of it's going to make the difference as they come to the checkered flag. The white is out. We've got 1 to go. The final lap for round number 4. The Chargers here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway on a beautiful 4th of July evening. Pistone tries to get a line on Laney. Laney works to the outside of Rick Bass. The win goes to Laney. We'll be back with more from the Charlotte Motor Speedway and our winner, Todd Laney, in the Charger Division. Stay with us. It's been a great 4th of July night for Todd Laney. He wins the Chargers feature here. Coy Gibbs does a tremendous job, hustles his entry through the field. He finishes. We're back live at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, where tonight's Pro Division starting grid is brought to you by Kendall Motor Oil. John Crow, the reigning champ, and G.E. Chapman will start up on row number 1. John Craig and Chuck Graffar are back in row number 2. Working our way through the field, we're seeing that there's some names that are not here tonight as well. Kevin Conway, John Craig, Barry Graham, always one of the top runners. So you're looking back through it. Some of the names that are missing, Doug, I have not seen Brian Sockwell tonight.
Brian unloaded. He was here practicing earlier.
There he is. I didn't see him earlier on.
It's
okay,
a long
there's
way
Brian.
back for him to have to start, though.
Ricky Hendrick, who's been having such a big season. He is, of course, the son of Rick. Here's Brian Sockwell, your points leader. Doug Vandenbrink, G.E. Chapman, John Crow, and Greg Schultz all tied for 3rd. Here's a note on Brian Sockwell from Wrecker Boy, Mark.
He's starting 17th tonight because during practice he got hit. They were trying to repair the front end. They didn't get it put back together the way they wanted for the heat race, so he didn't finish very well, so he's stuck there in the back of the pack. Could be a golden opportunity for some of the guys chasing him to pick up some points. We're getting set for the green flag.
That'll be fun to watch. Ricky Hendrick did pick up sponsorship from Sandwich Construction Company this week. That's big news for him to add to the rest as we go to green with the Pro cars.
Where did they find room on his car to put another decal?
He's already got DuPont, No Fear, Hendrick Motorsports, you name it, they're all on there. The battle up front tonight should be fast and furious as everybody tries to break away from Sockwell, hoping that he'll be trapped in the back. There's Gaffar right there in the 3C.
Yeah, the question in the Pro Division.
Oh, we got one around, Doug.
That's the 0-1 of Eddie Baldwin, turn going sideways in traffic. Not a good place to be. And if he hangs there for much longer, we'll bring out a yellow. Everybody tiptoes around him down in turn number 2.
Well, Sockwell's night is not getting a lot better. He is way in the back. There you see the 4U. He had to cut across the grass to avoid that, which didn't help him out any. Square D back entry.
Well, he's got to feel around that suspension. If he broke that earlier today, he's got to be sure that that is ready to go. And Brian was feeling pretty good about things earlier today, but right now I'm sure his night's turned a little dismal.
If you can see the front of the 4U, when he comes around onto the front straightaway, you'll notice a bunch of holes cut into a bunch of circles. See those down there just to the left and right of the grill? One of the biggest things with these Legends cars is the motor sits in an unusual position. It was meant to sit sideways, and now they have it sitting long, so that changes the airflow around the motor. And they need to get more air to the motors. One of the keys to making these cars go fast. That is Sockwell's design on how to beat that problem. He's cut some holes up in the front and is trying to get more air back in that way. Some of the other drivers have cut slits and slots and vents at the top of the hood, trying to correct that problem as well. We're back to green.
And Ralph, they carefully police that. There's an exact number of holes that you are allowed to cut in all of these fender pieces, and they'll check the diameter of those holes and the number of them. If you go over a certain point, then you have to pop rivet on a new fender because that one becomes illegal at that point.
And it does make a huge difference. Look at this battle for the lead. The one car trying to hold on. John Crow, you're right, trying to hold off the number 29, G.E. Chapman.
Of course, John Crow, he's a racer. He is currently, I think, 5th in points in the Hooters Cup Series. That's a late model stock series. And he's the number 1 leading rookie driver over there. Of course, he's the defending champion here.
John Crow is only in his 3rd season of full-time racing. When he's not doing this, he works for the Simpson Corporation, the people who do all the helmets, driver suits, and so forth. You can find John Crow at just about any NHRA national event, selling Simpson products and helping the drivers and crew members keep themselves safe. Boy, this is a great battle for the lead, too, with G.E. Chapman all over the back of John Crow.
Chapman gnaws on him going down into the first turn here. Can't do anything with him, though.
I like that. Gnaws?
Gnaws.
That's good. That's good. That's good. I like
My night is made. I'm going home.
Yeah, well, okay.
Thank you.
Chapman, his night's about to be made as he gets inside of Crow. He's going to take the lead. He's going to fight for it, but I think he's going to get it, Doug.
Chapman had to go down on the rumble strips to make that work, and he still held his line. And here comes John Craig up there in the 1C.
Makes a liar out of me. He was so far up the inside. Oh, there you go. Just stuff him out of the way.
That'll work.
That wasn't a gnaw. That was a big bite.
That was a bite. John Craig's in there in the 1C. Here comes Chuck Griffar. Chuck has had trouble all season long. He said, I feel like I finally got this set of tires worn down to where they will be racing.
Watch this. He gets right up on him and just shoves him off the line. Crow knew he had to slow down, too, because if he didn't, he was going to go all the way off track. And Crow now sits back in 4th place.
And G. Chapman, meanwhile, is checking out.
Sockwell is in 10th, battling for 9th.
Working around David Wagner, I believe.
That's him.
We have 3 cars that have the number 1 as their prominent number in this division. There's 1C, which is actually John Craig, and John Crow in the yellow, white, and red machine.
Doug Vandenbrink in the 7, the black 7. Tries Crow now.
He's had some good runs lately, Ralph.
Saving the best battles for last here tonight as we watch live on Sports South and all the rest of the Prime affiliates across the country here on this beautiful 4th of July evening at the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Vandenbrink applies the chrome horn generously there, trying to move Crow out of the way. Didn't work.
Can't hit him too far or you'll mess yourself up. This is helping Chuck out because Gaffar is just moving away now.
Chuck Gaffar said, I think the brand new tires don't work as well on these cars. You've got to wear the tires down a little bit. Puts a little bit more rubber on the road. Of course, they only allow you so much tread wear before you have to get a new set. And he felt like this set was finally coming around to him.
But you can get some pretty good wear out of these tires. Schultz and Barry Graham now battling behind them. There's Sockwell. You just saw him behind Barry Graham.
He's getting his car hooked up here. This Greg Schultz is always a tough competitor in the 32B car.
Mark, tell me about this Greg Schultz guy.
Greg Schultz, just before the race, Mike White walked over with a gray piece of duct tape. On it was simply "Think 25 laps," and he put that on the dash of Greg Schultz's car. Now, the reason for that, he simply wanted Greg to get the message, you can't win this race on the first lap. Be patient. This race is a long one. It lasts a full 25.
Good advice that seems to be working for Schultz right now as he sits in the middle of the battle up front. Here's a look at the leaders. G.E. Chapman.
John Craig moving up there in the 1C, coming up to challenge a little bit here on GE, but still, he's got a ways to go.
By far the best he has run all season long. There's a great battle for third.
John Crow in the number 1, looks to the inside.
Oh, he's got to get him. Makes the move, makes it stick. Chuck tries the outside. He's going to have to slot in behind him.
That's a textbook pass in Legends car racing. Let that guy in front of you slip to the outside, dive low, and then power up off the turn.
Here comes Vandenbrink now. Oh, he gets into Gaffard.
Vandenbrink read a different textbook.
The gnawing textbook.
These guys all accept that, though. If you don't try to spin them out, if you don't try to plant somebody in the wall, they know you're going to get touched.
I think they all accept that, and I think that's part of the fun because you know you can do it, and you can master that technique, and there is a technique to doing it and doing it properly.
And you're seeing it executed right now by Doug Vandenbrink.
He's doing a fine job of it, too.
He hasn't got the desired results he's looking for yet, as Chuck Grafar is still hanging on to that 4th place spot.
About 5 more laps to go, and I'm sure that gnawing is going to start getting a little bit more aggressive here in a moment.
Push may come to shove here in about 2 more laps.
Here's your leader, G.E. Chapman.
She's got about a half a turn advantage over John Craig, who rides in 2nd.
And Sockwell is about a half a lap behind the leaders, just to give you an idea of where he's at. But he is inside the top 10. Here's a big pan back to show you where that battle for 4th position.
Vandenbrink working all over Chuck Grafar. Greg Schultz is right there. Schultz looks to the inside of Vandenbrink.
Well, he's been thinking. Now it's time to act because there are about 2 laps to go. Gaffar gets wide. Here comes Schultz to the outside.
Gafar's made that car very wide the last couple of laps.
Vandenbrink can't get a good run. Look at Schultz to the outside down the backstretch. They're going to get the white flag this time by the final lap of round number 4 of the Summer Legends Shootout Series. Schultz dives inside of Vandenbrink.
Tries to push him to the outside and makes it stick coming off the 2nd turn.
What a great move by Schultz. Here comes your leader. Now your winner, G.E. Chapman. Crow crosses the line. Gaffar holds off Schultz. He'll claim 4th position.
John Craig comes home in the runner-up spot.
Crow will finish in 3rd. Sockwell comes home in 8th place. We'll be back with more here at CMS, including fireworks. Live, real, good fireworks. Stay with us. Well, nobody is going anywhere here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway because they are going to be lighting off the fireworks shortly. G.E. Chapman was the winner of the Pro Division feature in a big way. David Wagner, John Crow, all making nice finishes here, and Chuck Grafar and Doug Vandenbrink doing a job of holding into the top 5. I think the story here is the fact that Brian Sockwell comes home in 8th, which he might lose a little ground, but not as much as he could have here tonight.
Sockwell started way back in a different area code, managed to battle back up through the field, come on with a halfway decent finish, and it'll scramble the points somewhat, but Sockwell's still in great shape.
Well, I think old Wrecker Boy is down there in victory lane. Let's check.
Max Jobs.
Here's the lineup for the semi-pro race. George Potter and Jimmy Sides. Jimmy Sides, and of course one of the other original style cars. Brake Carey, one of the heat race winners, will take up the inside of row number 2. Clay Hare, who is an IHRA national champion, is trying his hand at Legends Car Racing. He's back in row number 4 as we work our way back through rows 5 and 6 and so forth. Car's now rolling off the grid.
Boy, Dennis had a great run here last week, Ralph. He was a contender right up to the very end.
Timothy Peters, watch him, 77 car. That kid is only 14 years old. Boy, is he aggressive.
He goes after. By the way, this will be a 20-lap feature event. All of our features tonight, 20 laps here for our July 4th celebration. John Freeman. Talked to John earlier. He said he's really been fighting a loose condition late in the race. He said when his car burns off the fuel, the tank gets a little bit low, that the car really goes away from him. They're trying to fight that.
He also got a win at Concord over the weekend, so we'll have to keep our eyes on him. He's been getting better and better every week. Billy Gomez Jr. and Jimmy Guthrie make the last row, 22 cars in this one. Here's a look at the semi-pro point standings. John Freeman sitting in the middle of that. Good battle there for second place in points. And actually, Bill Jarvis is certainly not a comfortable position there with only a 6-point lead. Green flag, and we're racing for the first time with Legends cars. Oh, lots of contact in turn number 1.
Right off the bat, we've got cars going everywhere across the racetrack. Greg Herlocker in the 18 is involved in all of that mess, along with Tim Bolton, one of the points leaders.
There you see the battle up front. Jimmy Sides is in the 00. The 54 belonging to George Potter from right here in Charlotte. And right behind them comes the 02 of Ronnie Austin. Here's another look at that first lap incident. By everybody trying to look for a way out, and there was just nowhere to go. Here they come right into your living room.
Most everybody able to drive away there. It looked like maybe Chuck Spicer got the worst of that as he drove into the side of another car.
Austin and Sides go at it for second place. There you see Tim Bolton, the attack car.
Ronnie Austin is in the 02. The 23 tonight is being driven by E.B. Jackson, I believe.
I think that's Bill Jarvis.
Is that Bill
there?
Jarvis?
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Austin to the inside of Jimmy Sides. That's going to make the difference. As they go down into turn number 3, he'll have the line. They've got Herlocker to contend with. He gets out of the way.
Sides has been driving Legends cars maybe longer than anybody in this field. And when he first got into it, he was really aggressive. He turned a lot of people around. And as it has gone on, Jimmy has developed more of a style. He's a little bit more finesse driver now.
Boy, Ronnie Austin on a charge here tonight as he comes up now to take the lead away from Potter.
Austin has a good line. As you can see, his car stick well into turn 2. Wiggled it a little bit that time coming off the corner.
Looked like he had just a bit of a push as he came off the turn. He corrected for it, got it straightened out. Looks much better off of 4. Potter not really able to do a whole lot with him just yet. The semi-pro division has been fairly calm this season. The Masters division has been absolutely out of control. The pro division has belonged to Brian Sockwell all season, and the Chargers are just that, the Chargers. Those guys drive over, under, and around each other at all times.
Austin with about a 1-car length advantage now over Potter. And I think we probably told you this before, but Ronnie says his biggest goal when he shows up to race is to take the car home with all 4 wheels on the ground. I think maybe he's probably changed his thought process just a little bit here.
Here's a battle for 3rd place. Jarvis, who is the points leader, we showed you earlier, has a 6-point lead. He's got to deal with Jimmy Sides. There's a little bumping going on. Potter losing touch now with the leader, Austin. Jarvis trying to take a line to get around Sides, and you really have to get to the inside to make a move stick here unless you've just got the monster motor.
We don't see much passing on the outside. You hardly do in any form of automobile racing, but in Legends car racing doesn't happen too much unless you just really got a lot more, but he's going to try to make liars out of both of us, Ralph.
That really is going to be a difficult move. He's going to have to hope for some traffic or maybe bump him just enough to knock him off the line a little bit, make him bobble, and then you can slide by.
Not going to be able to do it this time by as Jimmy Sides in the 00 holds his line firmly coming down the back stretch and into turn 3.
Bill's a former motocross champion, won that title back in the 70s.
Actually, Jimmy is a former national champion in Legends car racing. They held a race at the conclusion of 1993 to determine the national champion, and he was the winner of that particular event.
There's John Freeman in the 5F, and he's closing in on that battle for 5th place. Oh, then he drifts wide, and Tim Bolton tries to sneak inside. Looks like Bray Carey racing in the middle of that as well, in the green 13.
Tim Peters coming up in there quick in the 77.
Oh, watch out. This one's going to be good. This will be one of the best battles on the racetrack.
Tim Peters, just a kid, right all over the rear deck lid of Bray Carey, and John Freeman's been able to distance himself a little bit from those other cars.
Peters seems to have a tremendous amount of natural talent, and at only 14 years of age, he just needs time. And look at Bray Carey to the inside.
Here's Ronnie Austin, our leader. George Potter still riding back there in second place. Way back, and Austin's got a cushion of some lap cars.
Here's the battle for 3rd. Sides and Jarvis still having at it. They got Chuck Spicer just in front of them in the red 24 KT. Now that's the kind of thing that Jarvis needs. He needs somebody to get up in there and disturb Jimmy Sides. There you see John Freeman and Bray Carey, 2 laps to go.
Jarvis has worked him over pretty solidly for the last 4 or 5 laps. Can't do anything with him. They're up on Spicer. He needs to get out of the way to let these guys battle for this position.
Jimmy Sides sells Peterbilt trucks for a living, and right now his Legends car is about as wide as a Peterbilt. There's your leader. Look at the gap back to 2nd place of Potter. Now back to 3rd. That's not it. That's a lap car. There they are. Sides and Jarvis coming through. The 66, that's Billy Gomez.
Should get the checker next time by. Jarvis lays into the rear end of Sides. Almost turned him sideways off of 3.
He got him loose, couldn't turn him around. Coming off the last 2 turns now. Here's Austin. He'll take the win. Potter gets 2nd. There's your battle for 3rd. It goes to Sides.
Great battle between Sides and Jarvis over the last 8 laps to fight over 3rd. That shows you the level of competition in this semi-pro class.
Well, hurry to the refrigerator, because when we come back, the Masters are up. Trust me, you will not find any better fireworks than those guys. The semi-pro division have completed their 20-lap race here at CMS. The winner was Ronnie Austin. George Potter held on for 2nd. Bill Jarvis and Clay Hare sneaks in there to take 5th place.
Drag racers learning how to make those turns.
Sport South as we bring you round number 5 of the Summer Legends Shootout Series. Derek Cope and Jimmy Spencer will join us once again. We've got 5 more nights of this. Nice job down in the truck. What a pretty picture. That's what it looks like here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway as we wrap up round number 4. Mark Garrow, Doug Rice, and Ralph Shaheen happy to bring you round number 4 of the Summer Legends Shootout Series here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway on a 4th of July. Happy birthday, America. We'll see you next Tuesday. Tonight marks the halfway point in the season, and the division battles are heating up. You'll see who's taking charge in the Summer Legends Shootout Series next on Sports South. It should be another hot summer night of competition as we reach the halfway point, round number 5 of the Summer Legends Shootout Series, live from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Welcome back to round number 5 of the Summer Legends Shootout Series, live from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. The Pro Division cars are up next, gridded and ready to go.
Pro Division, of course, the top dogs of Legends car racing, G.E. Chapman and Greg Schultz on the first row.
Tonight's Pro Division starting grid is brought to you by Kendall Motor Oil. As you see, it is G.E. Chapman and Greg Schultz on the front. John Craig and Jack Campana will line up right behind them in row number 2. Doug Vandenbrink and Chuck Gaffar back in row number 4. That's one of the tougher rows, I think, in tonight's field.
Vandenbrink's been running very, very consistent all season long. He has been a proverbial front runner. Kevin Conway, it's only his second appearance in Pro this year.
Here's the point standings. Brian Sockwell has been the big dog in this group. John Crow is the reigning champion, and he's kind of been hot and cold this year, hasn't he?
He has been, and when he's on, he's right up front, and when he has been cold, he has been totally out of it. Here's a good look at Doug Vandenbrink as he crosses the start-finish line, putting a little heat into the tires and cleaning the dirt off of them. Doug, of course, from nearby Harrisburg, North Carolina, and he is an artist by occupation, actually a graphics designer, and he designs a lot of the helmets you see in Winston Cup racing. He designed Kenny Schrader's and Jeff Gordon's, and he does really colorful creations with the helmets, and that's what he does when he's not strapped into a Legends car.
In fact, I think he just did one of Johnny Benson's helmets, if I'm not mistaken, and it looks pretty good. Let's go down to Mark Garrow with some updated information on Brian Sockwell's 4U.
Brian Sockwell won his heat race. He should be on the pole position to start this event, but when he went through inspection, they found that the left side of his car, the wheelbase was too short, so he was penalized to dead last outside row number 5. Now that's the good news. There are only 10 cars here tonight, so Brian Sockwell, who had a tough week a week ago, will again have to battle from the back of the pack for the second consecutive race.
You see Gaffar and the 3C get together with the number 1 of David Wagner.
Problems there for David Wagner as he finally gets restarted and gets going again, but he's going to be way behind the pack here on the start. G.E. Chapman's going to be on the point.
And John Craig right behind him in the 1C. No yellow flag comes out since everybody was able to continue. Watch in the middle of the screen the yellow car and the white car get together.
Gaffar got a little airborne there, but he was able to keep it pointed in the right direction.
And
everybody gets around it.
Sockwell's 4U hard on the binders, and he stays out of it. The points leader does. Here's the battle for third.
Greg Schultz down on the inside looking to get by the 99.
Jeff Craig in that 99, hard on the brakes, and John Craig, goes around.
So the Craig brothers right in the middle of it there, and John Craig gets refired, gets underway, gets going, and we're back near the front here.
There's your battle for second and third. Greg Schultz in the 32. Boy, action fast and furious early on. Vandenbrink hammering his way through the field. He's up to 4th.
So Doug Vandenbrink up to the 4th place spot, takes it deep down into the 3rd turn here, makes it stick, and he's closing in on the 3rd place car now of Jeff Craig.
That was Jack Campana that we had seen fall back in the number 10 car. Craig in the 99, Vandenbrink in the 7. Couple of black cars having at it down in turns 3 and 4. There's Campana right behind him. There's Brian Sockwell, the 4U. He's in 7th. Gaffar just in front of him in the 3C.
Sockwell usually brings 2 cars to the racetrack. He has a black sedan and a blue one. And tonight he tried out his black one. It just wouldn't run to suit him. This is really his backup car that he's piloting here tonight. We normally see him in a black 4U. Back up to our lead.
Chapman, car number 29, up front and leading this one. Started on the pole, pulling away. Here's your battle for third. The 99 of Jeff Craig and the 7 of Vandenbrink.
Vandenbrink moving up to challenge the 99. As we told you, Vandenbrink, a graphic artist by trade, but right now he's doing pretty artistic work with that steering wheel and the accelerator as he has closed the distance up on the 99 of Jeff Craig.
Vandenbrink from right here in Harrisburg, North Carolina. There's Jeff Craig holding on to 3rd.
Of course, you know, Jeff's the young man that was injured last year in the motorcycle accident. Just came back about halfway through the season this year and doing pretty good for a guy that spent 6 weeks in the hospital and had 11 different surgeries.
Vandenbrink on the chrome horn gets hard into the back of Craig. position as we go down into turn number 1.
So Doug Vandenbrink gains the spot, and his next person on the hit parade will be Greg Schultz, who's about a half a straightaway ahead of Vandenbrink.
We talk about that on a weekly basis here in the Summer Legends Shootout Series. You can bump a guy just so much before it gets to be, I don't know, annoying, obnoxious, not in the proper gentleman's agreement of the sport. Here's Vandenbrink to the inside.
Vandenbrink just went down into the turn, and he was able to get the good line, got underneath him,
And waved.
and said, hey, see you later, I'm gone. Ralph, as long as they touch square.
That's the difference, you think, huh?
Yep, Jeff Craig back to the inside here, and don't try to hook somebody and turn them around. As long as you touch them square on those bumpers, nobody really complains too much about that. But if you hook somebody, spin them out, crash them into the wall, that's a whole different story.
Well, we've seen some of that this year, too, on the Summer Legends Shootout Series. Here's your leader now, G.E. Chapman. Well, no, let's stay right here. There's Chapman.
Hello,
They're
and
both back. There it is.
go back 2 or 3 chapters in this book till you get to this battle for third. And there's Jeff Craig to the outside, Doug Vandenbrink to the inside.
This is a great battle going on here for third place. Craig, you know, as you mentioned, Doug, is just getting back to form. We really saw some good racing out of him last year before his accident, and it looks like now, after a couple of weeks back at it, he is really picking up where he left off. And there's a 4U of Sockwell right back in the thick of things.
So Brian Sockwell in the 4D 4U has moved up to 6th place in his backup machine, and he's just trying to do the best he can to preserve some points. He was a little off last week. He only finished 8th.
This is the battle for 5th. Jack Kupata holds on to it in the Husqvarna back entry, car number 10. The square D of Sockwell, the 4U.
Takes
Right
it down
with
into the turn, and good battle for the 5th place spot, and they're moving up on 3rd and 4th here as a group.
Gafar is just behind them. You might have saw the nose of the yellow car. And this is really going to get interesting now, because you're going to just about have 4 cars battling for third here at about another lap.
Brian Sockwell running the blue 4U car down on the inside. Will try to make the move on Campana if he can stick it into the first turn.
He's got him, Doug. Lots of patience being exhibited by Brian Sockwell in the 4U. He knew he was faster. He waited. He pressured. And Campana made the mistake, got a little too wide, and that's all Brian Sockwell needed.
And Brian Sockwell brought out both of his cars today, tried them both out. He said they were running identical lap times in practice, but he just felt like this one was getting around the track a little bit better. And he said both motors were lagging a little bit. He just didn't feel like they were picking up enough steam.
3/4 of the way through this one, just 5 laps of the schedule, 20 to go. And now Sockwell goes after Craig. In every position he picks off, this is for 4th. Makes a big difference in that point standings for him.
G.E. Chapman is checked out. He's gone away from the field, so we're looking at battle back here for 4th place between Craig and Sockwell, who has clawed and gnawed his way up through the field very, very methodically here for the first 16 laps.
And he's changed his line. Early on, he was running a much wider line through 1 and 2. Now he's right down on the apron.
Didn't make it stick like he wanted to. Now he'll
There he
look to the
goes.
inside.
Oh, just not enough horsepower.
Craig did a good job of blocking him off that time. He kept that car in the right line, but Sockwell will get him this time, I think.
Now, right to the inside. Sockwell picks off another one. And we shouldn't say probably not enough horsepower. It's probably just not enough traction, because you have more motor than you do tire to hook it up to the ground. Just 2 laps to go, and Brian Sockwell extends his points lead here tonight as he moves into 4th position.
So Sockwell holding on to a good position here.
G.E. Chapman, we have not talked much about him. That's because the leader of this one is checked out. He is on the white flag lap. Here he comes off of turn number 4. He's going to go by Randy DeBrule. He'll take the win. Here comes Sockwell. The 4U does just what he needed to do tonight. Pick up points to extend the points lead in the Legends Summer Shootout Series for the Pro Division. G.E. Chapman's your winner. We'll be back after this.
Onto the racetrack right now. Let's take a look at the finish for the Pro Division. We're coming back, so don't go away.
Back on a beautiful summer night at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, live in Concord, North Carolina. There are the Charger Division cars rolling off the grid. We get set for their 20-lap feature event. And the grid for the Chargers Division, of course, there are no points for this one. Keep your eye on row number 2. Car number 90, Jerry Dickerson, Doug, has been upside down every week we've been here as we roll on through the grid. Francis Rosser in the .08. Francis is a big supporter of the Don't Drink and Drive program. Rick Bass and his brother Sam Bass's car number 92, the Ice House backed entry, here with us again this weekend. Working our way through the last couple of rows. Chuck Orr, Brian Lee, Jeff Kent from the Fox, 99.7. He's out here in the Food Line backed entry.
Jeff's not starting in the rear of the field tonight. He's moved up some. Way to go, Jeff.
Ricky Hendrick in the...
There's Coy Gibbs. He has picked up a sponsorship. Pace Race Trailers on the side of that car. Of course, the youngest son of Coach Joe Gibbs. Uh-oh, this is bad. A wreck under the pace lap on the one car.
And
I
it's
think that's
Ricky
Hendrick. That's
Ricky.
not good.
The fenders falling off.
I am wondering if they maybe forgot to hook those fenders on and attach them before he went out to run tonight. That's what it looked like. Might want to go back to the boys in the shop on that one if that's the case.
Yeah.
We'll see. Maybe there was a little contact out there on the warm-up lap. I don't exactly know what happened there.
It's hard to tell. It looks like it's pretty busted up on the front there, Doug. I'm thinking maybe he got together with...
He might have gotten into the rear end of another car because that grill looks a little caved in there. Ricky Hendrick, the youngest son of Rick Hendrick, Winston Cup car owner, and he has also been a feature winner so far this year.
Ricky picked up the Sandwich Construction Company as a sponsor on his car, and he hasn't been able to race with their logo on the car yet. Let's go down to Mark Garrow.
He had some problems early on tonight, Ralph. They were getting ready for the heat race, decided on a gear change. When they moved the heat race up the time of it, they were still changing the gear and missed it. That's why he was in the back of the pack, and that apparently cost him dearly.
Boy, what a tough night for Ricky Hendrick. We're back to green. Coy Gibbs in the 18 searching for a line to wade through all the traffic. Good racing up front. Watch out, Jerry Dickerson, Mr. Upside Down, might get at it again.
Steve Thompson on the outside, the 32 car. And I believe that's Francis Roser hanging on to third place in the .08 sheet.
There's your battle for fourth. Coy Gibbs holds on to that position right now. The 11 as they battle for fifth. Gets all out of shape. That's Reed Paget. And he's running with the 17F of Todd Laney. And Jeff Kent has problems in the 99.7.
Oh, there's our leader spinning it around.
Steve Thompson, the 32, started on the pole, has trouble. Man, lots of action in this one. Here's what happened to him.
Steve is affectionately called the Chicken Man. The Chicken Man gets plucked right there as he slides it into the grass.
I always wonder just how long it's going to take for you to throw one of those in. That's pretty long for you tonight.
I don't know. Well, we've made it almost. We've made it past halfway.
Mark Garrow.
Oh, got a little note on Steve Thompson, the Chicken Man. Now, on his dash, they have a sign that says, think, brake straight, smooth in, smooth out. By the time he got done reading that, he was past the turn, and that's why he spun out.
Well, that's a lot to remember.
I think they needed fewer words there.
Rick Bass, Sam Bass's brother, the new Ice House backed car, spins and then goes a lap down as our leader, Jerry Dickerson, sneaks past.
And Jerry's now got lap traffic protecting himself from the second place cars. Rick Bass, Sam Bass designed entry. I believe Francis Roser rides in second.
Poor Rick Bass, his brother Sam is just stressing out as a car owner as he tries to get used to the troubles and tribulations of being a points leader. As you watch the battle for second place, Coy Gibbs sticks to the inside of Bass. Rosser's on the inside of him. Oh, they get together. And here comes a 17F to capitalize on all of that. Todd Laney takes the position.
Todd, a previous winner in the Chargers division, waited till all of that melee settled down, got around Coy Gibbs, got around Francis, takes the spot.
The key to being quick in a Legends car, A, is being smooth, but B is not losing momentum. Laney had the momentum going as those two got off track, did Coy Gibbs and Francis Rosser. When that happened, Laney just rolled on past.
I like the way Coy drives, though. though. He's a good, smooth driver, Ralph. He's figured out the lines around this racetrack and does well. He tries to take a peek here to the inside. We'll see if Laney can hold him off this time by. And he does.
You just like the fact that he gets you good deals on those extra value meals at McDonald's because he's involved with the drag team.
Can he do that?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I've already found out there's a guy racing Legend cars tonight to get you free Chick-fil-A's. I can tell you that later.
Jerry Dickerson can get you a free ride upside down. I hate to pick on him about that too much, but he's been a lot of fun to watch this year.
I mean, it slips past Jeff Kent there, and there's the interval back to second place. That's Deborah Hanson in the 87 car. That's usually driven by Marcus Smith, but Deborah, who's done a lot of race car driving in her career, out there wheeling the 87 tonight.
Nice story there, too, is she usually tows the show car around for Marcus, and Marcus decided to let her have some fun and get a couple of nights of racing in this summer. Coy Gibbs trying to catch up to Laney. Jeff Kent stuck in the middle there, the 99.7 car. He's a lap or two down now.
As we told you, Jeff, the Food Line entry there, the afternoon DJ for WRFX. Trying to rock and roll out here a little bit tonight. He's improved as the season's gone along, too. He was a raw rookie when it all started. There's our leader, Jerry Dickerson, just piling it on.
What a great night it would be for Jerry Dickerson. He's been upside down so much this summer. As the caution comes out, we stack 3 of them down in turn 3.
And Tom Pistone III is hooked up in all of that mess, and it looks like our pole sitter, Steve Thompson, has also been collected in.
And Chuck Orr in the 2, the red, white, and blue entry there is involved as well.
So a threesome hooked up there in the middle of the turn. Greg Walters giving the yellow flag a workout here tonight at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And Steve Thompson hanging on to the roll bar in the top.
Here comes the hook. Literally, that's what it is. It's a giant hook. They just pick you up, carry you away. We're going to break away for a minute, but we'll be back. Stay with us. Here's the official results from the Chargers feature, or not results, or at least the way they stand as of this point with 12 laps of 25 completed. Jerry Dickerson still looking for the win here tonight. Coy Gibbs fighting his way up through the field, hanging on in third. And with this yellow flag, Todd Laney gets a real good shot at making a good battle out of this. Now, Reed Padgett in the 11 had some words with car number 87, Deborah Hanson, Burger King car.
They got tangled up under the caution here. I don't exactly know what happened. Those two got sideways on the back stretch and then apparently stopped to discuss it for a little bit. And hopefully that'll be the end of that. Ooh, another little bump up here. We've had more under caution tonight. That's that full moon Idas coming out.
And in the middle of that, you see the number 1, the red car. That's Ricky Hendrick, missing all the fenders and hood, but he's back out racing. We're back to green flag, round 5 of the Summer Legends Shootout Series. Dickerson trying to hold off the 17F. This will be the strongest challenge he's had all night. Todd Laney right on the back bumper.
See if he can get up to it, maybe tap him, get him out of line. Laney a single car length back. Then looming in the background there is Coy Gibbs in the 18.
This is the kind of momentum builder Jerry Dickerson really needs. He needs to get away. Oh, we stack him up in turn 2.
Gordon Rayleigh is involved there. Jeff Kent is mixed up in that.
Yeah,
and I believe that's going to be Stuart Wheeler in the 14.
Sure is. And there's one other car there, Doug. Is it the 21, John Smith?
A 4-car incident here right on the restart. 3 of them are still piled together there. You can get a good look at Jeff Kent's car, the toe end out on that machine.
Looks like Jeff starts and he loses it in turn 2. Spins around and everybody else just runs out of room.
Stuart Wheeler gets into him, and then the 5 of Gordon Rayleigh, kind of an innocent victim as he comes along.
Here's another look at it. Everybody hard on the brakes. Big time up in the air for the 21. Rick Bass just misses it.
Nice pirouette, and he spiked the landing. So he'll get a 9.7 from the Czechoslovakian judge. The Olympic Games are so much more fun when they're communist countries, things like that. You have people.
Are they going to have any Olympic events down in Atlanta Motor Speedway?
I think they're going to host some of the events correlating it, but actual games, I don't think so.
And so forth. They'll have cranes on the outside. Reach over, pick the car up, just pull it over to the other side of the wall so they can continue racing. We're going back to green with 2 laps of
see if Todd Laney's got enough for Dickerson. He has led this thing from the outset. Laney gives him a little bump.
Let's see if Dickerson can keep it on all four wheels with half a lap to go.
Good line going into 3.
Gibbs hard on the brakes. Everybody's on the power. Dickerson drifts wide. Jerry Dickerson wins in the Summer Legends Shootout Series, round number 5 for the Charger Division. Laney will hold on for second. Coy Gibbs has another impressive finish as he comes home in third. And Jerry, you don't have to fix the body. That's a good night of racing for Jerry Dickerson. Stay with us. Welcome back, everybody. Ralph Shaheen, Doug Rice, and Mark Garrow with you, alias Record Boy. And there's Daryl Jackson, one of the top drivers in this Legends division known as the Masters class. Daryl is right in the thick of things. He will be in the middle of the front group here as you see Jimmy Hines and Danny Boss. Boy, is this a tough front group up here. Mike White, Dave Price, row 2. There you see Daryl Jackson, who's a teammate of James Hines, sits on the inside of row number 3. Back past row number 4, it doesn't get a whole lot easier. Randy Dakota, Mike Hughes back in row 5. The Doc, Mark Moskowitz, car number 12, Donald Whitaker back here, Howard Whitaker. Boy, this is a tough field of Masters Division cars, Doug.
You were talking about Daryl Jackson. He is 4th in the Masters points right now. He's actually tied for 3rd with Renee Dakota as we're going to take a look at the Masters points here. We saw these at the top of the show. Danny Boss, Mike White, you said it, Ralph. These are tough guys. Any one of the people you're looking at on the grid here could win this show.
Well, as we mentioned early on, James Hines is at the top of the point standings just a week or two ago. Now he sits back in 5th. And you got to think that tonight it could flip-flop back around again. That's just how topsy-turvy this division has been.
Danny Boss currently on the points by 6 over Mike White. We talked about James Hines and Daryl Jackson. They're team drivers. They tow to the track together. Let's go back downstairs to Mark Garrow.
Little note on Renee Dakota. He's driving one of the original Legends car. It was the 21st car off the assembly line. In the back of that car, underneath the rear windshield, or where it would be, there is a sign that says, "Be healthy, drink milk." It's in the shape of a milk bottle. Now, that's a sign that's been on a race car now for better than 45 years. His uncle, Bill Dakota, ran a modified race car up north. It was always on his race car. And when he died, Renee Dakota decided that would be a neat thing to carry on his car as well. So it's back there in the rear decklet of that car, hopefully for good luck.
That car was originally owned by Ernie Irvin, and we got some interesting news about him in a minute. We're green flag with the Masters. Renee Dakota slides to the inside. He tries to move up through the field. Mike White in the Silver Bullet, number 7. He's in 2nd. Daryl Jackson moves to 3rd. Danny Boss slips to 4th. James Hines leads lap number 1.
James Hines been a tough luck driver all year long. There's Danny Boss working all over Daryl Jackson as they get onto the backstretch here. We'll see if Boss can make the pass on him. He's not going to do it this time by. And Mike White looking for first as he goes to the inside.
Mike White and James Hines just a couple of weeks ago came across the line backwards.
What a show. White won it with his rear bumper coming across the start-finish line ahead.
Told you that this Masters class usually is full of action, and I guarantee you the way this thing is setting up already, it looks like we're going to have another barn burner. There's Al Mitchell's number 9 coming through the field.
Al making the pass on the 0 car of Dan Hamrick.
And look at the leaders already side by side in turn 3. The Silver Bullet to the inside and picks up the spot.
Mike the Spike White, who's been under the weather for the first couple of races this year. I talked to him today. He said, "I'm 100%. I feel real racy," and he's living up to his word here as James Hines rides in 2nd.
And this will not rattle James Hines. He knows that there's plenty of laps left. And look at this battle. This is for 10th position. The 64 is Punchy Whitaker. Oh, hard on the brakes is the 5. That's Mike Hughes, and the 0 is Dan Hamrick.
Mike Hughes is up from Atlanta, Georgia. He runs a couple of Goodyear tire
Punchy
stores
goes
down
real
there.
sideways.
Mike's a former road racer.
Now Al Mitchell in the 9 gets into the side of one of the white cars. I thought that was a 63. You couldn't tell. Here's Hughes coming at him again.
Hughes owned the winning Hooters Formula car last year and said it was fun being a car owner, but now I want to come racing on my own. So doing a pretty good job here tonight.
So Hamrick loses touch with Hughes, slips back into the grasp of Punchy Whitaker and the R22.
Mark Moskowitz off the ground here and off onto the extension of the main speedway here. So our driving doctor is going to have to heal himself here as Mark Moskowitz is off the circuit.
Damage to those cars. You can see the 12 is one. That's a good look at the difference between the older style car and the newer style car.
Well, the lines on the newer style cars much more refined, much smoother, and really look like what these cars looked like when they were originally built.
Of course, the yellow car is the older style. The white entry is the newer style.
And Mark Moskowitz with problems tonight. Our racing doctor sidelined here. That's a bad sign when you see the hook.
Tommy Hook. Now, I've also been told that it's not a problem to change the body panels if you want to switch from the older style to the newer style, but some of the drivers tell me it's cheaper to stay with the older metal bodies.
I think how many do we have? We have 3, I believe. Renee Dakota drives one. Mark Moskowitz, I believe that's number 17 that came off the line. And Jimmy Sides, I believe, pilots one, the 00 car. And those are the only ones I know that run here regularly.
You know, there's a lot of talk about what's going on with Ernie Irvin, and Mark Garrow has a story down on pit road concerning Ernie.
Well, a lot of drivers have a lot of different things, as we've talked about throughout the night, on their dash. Well, for Eugene Blair, he's getting ready for the semi-pro feature here in just a second. On his dash, number 28, number 1 in our hearts. Of course, that assigned out to Ernie Irvin. Of course, everybody awaiting his comeback to racing, and I understand it won't be too long.
Well, there's a lot of talk. If you are a huge fan of Ernie Irvin, you need to be tuned into the Summer Legend Shootout Series next Tuesday night live on Sports South, as we once again will be the ones to bring you the breaking news in Winston Cup racing and maybe some breaking action as well.
We shall say no more. Is that a tease? Is that what that is?
I think
Mike White on the point, on the restart. 2B car of Danny Boston. Danny has got some new folks helping him out tonight. The guys that have been working with him. He's got new folks helping him set up his car and done a fairly good job, although he's awfully loose coming off of the turn there. Mike Beaver is helping him out, and Danny says he wants to do a little late model stock car racing also.
Teammates Jackson and Hines having at it. Hines out in front. This is the battle for second.
These guys are like best buddies, and they tow their cars to the race together, but they said when they get here, they forget all of that, and they go at each other just like they would any other competitor.
Punchy Whitaker having problems in the 64.
The car didn't want to turn at all. It was very, very loose coming out of the turn, almost spun around on it.
Back to your leader, Mike Wyke in the 7 car, out front. Second and third, hanging right behind him.
Mike's won 1 feature event so far.
Look at the battle for fourth. Boston, the 2B, the 10B.
That's Dave Price, I believe, there in the 10R machine, leading Danny Bost.
Bost trying to fight his way to the inside. Rennie Dakota hangs behind him.
Bost makes it stick. A full groove lower gives him a tap. And Renee Dakota is stalking Danny Bost down into the 3rd turn.
Mike White continues to lead this one, and now he's pulling out to a pretty healthy lead.
Mike White, a tough competitor. He's won a ton of races. He races his legend car whenever he gets a chance. There's Mickey Lawson in the 32, and Mike Hughes out of Atlanta gives Mickey a little tap. You saw the chicken car earlier tonight with a different driver aboard, and Mickey's running it right now.
Mike White was the Charlotte Motor Speedway track champion last year, 1994. Knows his way around here well. Hughes to the outside in the 5. Lots of smoke off the 32.
Mickey Lawson holds the line, and Hughes will take a peek back to the inside.
No, there's contact. 5 to go. Mickey Lawson gets shoved up the line, and Hughes and Mitchell slide through.
Hughes Rose is a former road racer, but not doing too bad out here on the oval tonight. Owned Anthony Lazzaro's car, as we said earlier, who won the Hooters Formula 2 Series last year, and said, I want to get behind the wheel, and brought it up from Atlanta today to go racing.
Having a pretty good night with it, too.
Nice looking car, too. Got the hot rod flames on the front end.
Here's the move down in one.
Oh, Mickey, they're not so fine. They're off in the grass.
I will just go right past that one. Here's your leader now working through traffic. That's Bill Cranfield in the 41. He gets right in front of Hines. Here's that battle for fourth. It's 3 cars. Oh, there's some tight racing as a 2B sticks his nose in there. Vost slides right through the middle. Dakota was right behind him. Now he goes inside of the 10R, and Price is going to have to give way.
Price surrenders the spot as Danny Bosch takes it away from him on the last lap.
Now, will Price hammer on Bost?
I think Dakota's going to come up and try to get Price.
Here comes your leader to the checkered flag. Mike White wins the Masters Division final. Dakota gets together with Price. Here comes Bost. Dakota by a nose over Price.
Good battle there, side by side. Dakota gets him. Price was not right.
You just used them all up in this one heat.
They're gone.
Feature, didn't you?
Through.
Thank you. Mike White, he used them up too. He's your winner. I tell you, Lugnut gets all the cool toys. Look at the hydraulics on this Legends car. The lights underneath.
That is just too cool.
What a great deal.
And he takes that over to the hardware store and impresses all the women.
Please, thank you. We've only got one more feature. I don't have to hear any more Price's lines tonight. Semi-pro feature. John Freeman, Mr. Stereo, up on the front. We go back through the next page. There's Bray Carey, who's got a couple of feature or heat race wins this summer. Ryan Stanley, he'll start alongside of him. We work our way back through the field. 25 laps for the semi-pro cars tonight, Doug.
All the way in the back of the field tonight. Take a look at Wayne Austin there. He's cousin of Ronnie Austin, who's a top competitor here. And Jimmy Sides in the 00 previous winner, starting way in the back.
Now you can see there is a tie for the points lead atop the standings here in the semi-pro division. And really none of the others are that far out of it. A couple of wins here, a couple of guys DNF, and you never know, it could happen. Jimmy Sides in the 00 comes to the green with the rest of them. John Freeman holds on to the lead, but here comes the Austin entry, the 02.
Ronnie Austin hanging on to that second place position right now in behind John Freeman. Jarvis is coming up there to challenge also.
Down the back stretch, Austin to the inside of Freeman. Looks like he's got the slot.
He made that look pretty easy, and Jarvis is going to try to get up underneath Freeman.
Hoyt Demis hangs on in fourth in the Z93, then Bray Carey.
3 wide there for a moment back in the pack.
The 49, Freddie Lancaster. Pass for second place now as Jarvis gets around Freeman. There's Demis in the Z93.
Yeah, Hoyt Demis has had some very good runs here. A couple of second place finishes on the season so far as he moves up through the pack. Ronnie Austin right now is the leader. He's a construction worker. Lives up in Trinity, North Carolina.
Battle for fifth place. Bray Carey in the green, number 13 on the outside. And on the inside is a 10H of Brian Seaman.
Brian Simons on the point, and Bray Carey down below. Trying to make that stick. Can't quite get around this time by. A lot of traffic behind him. These guys putting on a good show tonight. Simons holding on to third.
And the 54 closing in there with him. That's George Potter. So a 3-car battle there for that position.
Simons third, fourth, and fifth. And Bray Carey once again wants to look to the inside, but nothing going by this time by. Potter hanging on to the fifth position back there in the yellow and red car.
Bray's been at this for a couple of seasons now, and now you're looking at the battle for second. Jarvis in the 23, Freeman in the 5F, Demis in that Z98-3 car.
And Hoyt Demis has been a feature winner this year. He runs a wallpaper business. He's also his church's youth pastor, and he goes Legends car racing, has a full sponsorship there from Chick-fil-A. He's a pretty busy guy. Well, he even has postcards with his Legends car on.
That's big.
That's big time.
That is big time. Freeman tries to get to the inside of Jarvis. There's the line.
And I think that's going to open up the door for Hoyt Demis here if he can just get right in behind Freeman, if he's able to stick.
Trying to come right with him as Hoyt Demis can't make that happen. So Jarvis only loses one slot.
Jarvis got a little loose there and wiggled, and that helped Demis's charge. And we're back here to Brian Simons, Bray Carey, and Potter.
Steve Mendenhall, the crew chief for Bray Carey, who's we saw quite a bit of last summer on the Summer Legends Shootout Series. That's the battle for fifth.
Well, there were some nights last year when Mendenhall looked like he should have been outlawed. He was so strong.
Well, he's made a big difference to Bray Carey's program as well. Oh, we got a couple together down in turn 3.
Freddie Lancaster spins it, gets it backwards.
And the caution comes out. Lancaster not going anywhere. The front all torn up on that car.
So Freddie Lancaster's night ends prematurely here as he's going to have to just park it in the infield grass.
Here's a look at what happened in that incident. It'll be up to the top of the screen in turn 3. Looks like they're already together by then. Looks like the 66 of Gomez was having trouble. Billy Gomez. It looks like Freddie Lancaster ran out of room.
A lot of folks did a good job to keep that from being a bigger incident. Tim Bolton was able to drive through that. Jimmy Sides got around it. And here comes Billy Gomez Jr., his car kind of limping around the speedway.
Well, the big dog tonight right now in this division is the 02. And nobody seems to have a whole lot for him right now. We'll see what they can do after this yellow. Here's Mark Arrow with a story on Jimmy Sides' 00.
Jimmy Sides, one of his sponsors is a gentleman by the name of Cliff Quimby. Now, on the front of the windshield of the car, he's now getting the black flag. His bumper, I believe, is hanging off. But just above the front windshield, there's a decal that says, "Think it's easy." Now, his sponsor put it there because he was sick and tired of people looking at us on television and seeing Jimmy Sides race the car and say, "Gee, that looks easy." And it's not.
We're
Not
back
easy
to
for
green.
Jimmy Sides right now.
14 laps to go. The schedule 25, and you look at the field as they slide past you down into turn number 1. And your leaders battling up front. Freeman all over Austin now. Jarvis sits in third in the 23, the black entry.
Ronnie Austin from Trinity, North Carolina, leading the way there. We told you earlier he is a construction worker. I think he's been working helping build a new General Tire plant here in Charlotte. So he gets through over there, changes the hard hat for a helmet, comes out here and puts on a good show.
Freeman really looking to the inside. Looks like Austin's taking a very wide line down into turn number 1. If he's not careful, Freeman's going to capitalize on that and stick that 5F inside of him going into 1.
Tries to make it go, and as we've told you throughout the year, John has come up with one of the, I think, most clever marketing tricks I've ever seen, Ralph, putting the stereo inside the car.
Here's the battle for 6. Potter gets inside of Carey. Bray loses a slot, comes right back to let Potter know he's going to be right back with him in a second.
They've had a good battle going back there for 4th and 5th.
Oh, Bray hard on the brakes. Not going to make it.
No harm, no foul there.
Back up to the leaders now. Austin and Freeman down the backstretch. Freeman's still looking for that inside slot. He takes a much shallower line into the turns than does Austin. Watch as they go into 1. And here's Bray Carey hard on the brakes on the 13. He saw Potter slowing up. Got on the brakes to keep from hitting him and just went around on him. Simple as that.
Turned it right around. The good thing is, though, no damage to the car there as he spins kind of innocently into the grass.
Hoyt Demis in that Z98-3 still trying to take 3rd place away from Jarvis.
They've been going at it since the drop of the green here.
Man, who hasn't in this class? Action all over this racetrack. Now we're on to the bumper.
So Demis tags him just a little bit, gets him a little bit out of line.
Leaders together big time in turn number 1. Austin and Freeman are out.
So Ronnie Austin and John Freeman, who had been going 1 and 2, are sitting motionless there.
I wonder if the CD skipped a beat. Here's a look at the wreck as we went down into 1. Oh, there it is. The grass will get you every time.
It looked like John's car, John Freeman in the 5F, his car was breaking loose on the straightaway almost, and he went down in the grass, and that's all she wrote.
Well, Austin got a real good look at the front grille of John Freeman's car as he stuffed it right inside the window.
That's a tough break there for Ronnie Austin, because that was absolutely not of his making. He was leading and going on. They're both going to get fired up and keep going.
Lots of fiberglass left laying around.
Gonna have to visit the parts truck after it's over tonight.
You can see the exposed door now on Austin's car. Looks like the fenders are missing. There's the other side of the car, much better shape.
Toe-in seems to be okay, though. It looks like all the wheels are pointed in the right direction.
You can see what there is to protect the driver. You got a few bars and some.
That left rear fender is history, though.
Yeah.
That was the race leader at the time, Ronnie Austin. He'll move to the back of the pack. John Freeman, who was riding in second, who instigated that incident behind Ronnie Freeman.
And there's the front of the grid now. So Jarvis inherits the lead to 23. Demis will be with him. That's been a good battle all night. Anyway, Bray Carey slides up into third. Could be a good finish for him, and he's in the thick. He was in the top 5 of the points in semi-pro already anyway. Here we go. Green flag as we race on. 7 to go.
So Hoyt Demis now in second. Bray Carey has moved up to third place here. Brian Simons fourth.
If Bray is actually a lap down since he spun.
He spun out. I don't know if the leaders got by him when he spun or not.
I think they might have, Doug. I think actually Potter, who is in the 54, is back in behind him, would actually be in the battle for third right there.
That's probably a good point because he did spin and Potter was beside him. So yeah, I'm sure Carey's probably a lap down.
All right, here's your leaders. We know they're up front. Jarvis and Demis.
Hoyt Demis banging around back there in that second place spot. There's Potter, got a good line. Simons right behind him.
Demis now starting to work on Jarvis, putting the pressure on. And you can see Jarvis is watching that mirror because you see him cut down to the bottom all of a sudden.
Sure did. He's trying to protect the flank, make that car as wide as he can. As Hoyt Demis is poised back there.
Yeah, there's Jimmy Sides and the 00 working the 2J.
And coming up to the inside, the 44 gets into it.
Oh! We got cars all over the place.
That was Wayne Austin who was there and instigated that.
Well, we got cars, bodywork, fiberglass, tires, debris everywhere. We'll straighten it out and come back and figure it out for you. Stay with us. Wayne Austin, frustrated.
Smoke him if you got him.
Down the lighter, though.
Now, that is the cousin of the previous race leader. You can see Wayne in the blue 44 right here gets loose.
Pinches him.
And then the 2 car goes into the wall hard. That's Tim Bolton.
Somehow Jimmy Sides escapes a lot of damage in here. Look at this. He's right in the middle of the whole thing. Gets lucky. Green flag is coming back out.
I said that was Tim Bolton. I think that was Jimmy Guthrie, the 2J actually, that got into the wall there.
Demis in the Z98-3 works Bill Jarvis for the battle for the lead.
Demis just a handful of laps if he wants to catch Bill Jarvis.
Now Potter needs to get around Carey. If Carey is a lap down, that's not a battle for position, and that's going to hold Potter back from getting up here to challenge for the lead.
There's Brian Simons hanging on to that spot right behind Potter. He and Potter have had a good race within a race tonight also.
Jarvis and Demis, by the way, aren't going to have any problems with them. They're going to try to settle this themselves. 2 to go.
So the racing cousins, Ronnie and Wayne Austin, both out of it. It's left up to Jarvis and Hoyt Demis to battle it out.
Jarvis stretching the lead now as we come down to 1 to go next time by.
Demis got wide off the turn, and that really let Jarvis stretch out at his advantage. He's got a big lead now over second place Hoyt Demis.
Jarvis, a former motocross champion from the 70s, is about to win a Legends race. He's celebrating already. Not too soon, Jarvis. Wait till you take the checkered flag. Here it comes. Bill Jarvis wins the semi-pro division.
Potter gets third, Simons gets fourth.
And Hoyt Demis will hold on for second. But Bill Jarvis is your winner, the final race of the night. Stay with us. We'll be back for more from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Halfway point of the Summer Legends Shootout Series is officially upon us as we put round 5 in the books. Semi-pro feature results. There you see him. Bill Jarvis survives it, and he picks up the win. Well, tonight's best move is brought to you by Gatorade, and there was none better than that. Jimmy Spencer, driver of the Smokin' Joe's Winston Cup entry, putting on a performance on the backstretch.
Smoking the tires right there.
Our next show, as it is every Tuesday night, live on Sports South. If you are an Ernie Irvan fan, I strongly suggest you tune in and catch us live next Tuesday at 8 o'clock. Randy LaJoy and Ted Musgrave will be our Home Depot Challenge drivers then. Well, it was another great night of racing. We'll be back for more next week. For Mark Garrow and Doug Rice, I'm Ralph Shaheen. See you next Tuesday on Sports South. It's the final Tuesday night in the month of July, and we're settling into the dog days of summer in round number 7 of the Summer Legends Shootout Series. Hello, everybody. I'm Ralph Shaheen, and welcome to the Posh Speedway Club. We're getting set for another Tuesday night of great Legends car racing, and joining me, as always, is Doug. Summertime night sky here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and Ricky Hendrick, Jerry Dickerson, and the rest of the field roll off at the Charger Division. Row 2 right behind them, Randy DeBrule and Gordon Rayleigh. Should be Rayleigh, not Paley, I think. Todd Laney and Reed Paget, Marcus Smith, who was a winner last week, Steve Thompson making up row number 4. Tom Pistone, keep your eyes on him. This youngster is a pretty hard charger. Rick Bass and his brother Sam's car. Scott Lawson round out that row with him. Francis Roser in the .08 car. Jeff Kent, one of the local DJs here in Charlotte, 99.7C, and Brian Lee round out that row with him. And we make our way through the rest of the field, including Bill Irwin and Stuart Wheeler back in row number 10. This division here, as you take a look at the last row, does not get any points. This is a class of drivers who are supposed to be just starting off their Legends racing career, and we want to make sure that they just learn how to do it.
Car 5 here is Gordon Rayleigh. Now, Gordon takes this pretty seriously. He drives up every week from Crowville, Louisiana. He says that's about 730 miles. Takes 11 hours to get here. Last week, he finished 3rd in the Charger feature, and he says there's a whole gang up and down there that all get together with the house that has the satellite dish and watch the race. So, hi to wife Karen and the kids. Gordon made it, and he qualified pretty well tonight.
And we're green flag. Rick Bass in the 92 Ice House car looks for a way to the inside as we go back up front with Ricky Hendrick and Jerry Dickerson and DeBrule in the 10. Gordon Rayleigh sits back in 4th.
And you'll see that 10 car a little bit later on tonight. It'll have Dave Price aboard in another division. But right now, Randy DeBrule giving a ride. And a couple of spin around here, get off in the grass in the infield, get corrected, get on their way. Scott Lawson was there.
Jerry Dickerson looks to the inside of Ricky Hendrick, and he's got him. Oh, and we've got one around. That's Stuart Wheeler in the 14, the Ocean Spray car, a previous winner here. And Ricky Hendrick's got it back, Doug. He's back out front with DeBrule now moving to the outside for second. Contact with Jerry Dickerson.
Jerry Dickerson was able to get into the grass without everybody else collecting him up in that mess. And very fortunate there. He could have ended up in a lot of trouble. He loses the lead, but that's all.
Here's a look at the field. You see Marcus Smith, Pistone going by. Now DeBrule sets us. Oh, and Stuart Wheeler has looped it again, this time down at turn number 4.
Well, the Baylor grads having a hard time with the directional tonight.
And a yellow flag is out. This is the spin earlier. That's Jeff Kent on the outside.
Jeff Kent, as Ralph mentioned, DJ for WRFX in the afternoon. The Food Lion car moves around that, gets away from Stuart Wheeler here, and gets on it, and let's go down to Mark Garrow.
Little note on Stuart Wheeler. He wasn't here last week because he was getting married. He said he watched the Summer Legends shootout from Seattle, Washington in the honeymoon suite. So he came back this week a little bit weak-kneed, and perhaps his mind wasn't on racing as much as it usually is, and you see what happens.
He spent his time in the honeymoon suite watching the Legends race.
Do you think they've had their first fight already?
I think so. Probably shortly after the remote control flicked over to watch the race. You're doing what? Okay, anyway, meanwhile, back at the racetrack in the Charger division.
You're watching too much old-time television. Green flag is about to set to come back out.
Oh, it's like the Notre Dame highlights. And 7 plays later, Notre Dame scored.
That's right, after an exchange of punts in the same series of downs. If you had done that, you're all laughing right now. Down the backstretch with Tommy Pistone and Marcus Smith. This is the battle for 5th.
And Marcus Smith moving to the inside of Todd Laney. Makes the pass. Marcus, our winner last week.
Marcus Smith holds on to 4th place. Now look at Laney riding that back bumper. Inside line, not going to happen there. Pistone waits in the yellow cab.
I said last week when Tom Pistone III and Marcus Smith were battling it out here in the Charger division that and it looks like the lead is going to be surrendered here to DeBrule as he moves to the inside of Hendrick. We'll finish that story a little bit later on. And Gordon Braley, our man from Louisiana, is right in there with him, Ralph.
Gordon's just waiting for an opportunity. He might get one here too. Ricky Hendrick slipping back into the clutches of Randy DeBrule.
They got to pull for anybody that'll drive nearly 700 miles in 11 hours to go legend car racing and have a good effort.
That is either dedicated or addicted. I'm not sure which one. Ricky Hendrick, probably one of the best sponsored cars you'll see anywhere. Here's a pass for the lead. DeBrule to the inside, nicely done. Ricky Hendrick, nice job of not coming down on him. You can see DuPont, No Fear, the Sandwich Construction Company, they're all on the number 1. Here's the 98 car, he's around. That's Randy Humphrey. Puts him a lap down now. Battle for 2nd heating up.
That's DeBrule and Gordon Braley back there. Braley trying to track him down.
Jerry Dickerson into the infield in the 90. And Frances Rosser around at the .08. And she's got a broken spindle. She's done for the night.
Frances has had a top 5 finish this year, but a couple other times she's been caught up in things like this. That's going to take a little repair time. Yellow flag out here. Randy DeBrule will lead the pack. Ricky Hendrick, Gordon Braley make up your top 3. Laney is 3rd. Then it's Marcus Smith and Tom Pistone the 3rd. Frances Rosser getting ready to hop out of that one and inspect the damage. One thing you'll notice if you don't see many other forms of racing, the drivers get out of these cars, they open the door to do so. John Boy's not here tonight, right?
No. This is one of the slickest things we've seen in a long time here.
This is a record. This is actually an old Legends car, one of the first ones that they pulled off of the junk pile and said, we need to do something with this. We just can't throw it away. So they put some new skin on it. And Tom Brown, who heads up the South Carolina region for Legends Car Racing, put this together. Nice looking little miniature wrecker there.
It's actually the 26th chassis ever built. Mark Garrow's been nosing around the pit area and has some information about Richard Henson, car number 20.
Little bit of a follow-up. Stuart Wheeler, the newlywed, perhaps needs to take a little bit of advice from Richard Henson there. They call it rat racing. Inside he has a sticker. Now, all us married men can certainly appreciate this. It simply says, I live with fear every day. And sometimes she lets me go racing.
I guess I'm the only fearless one of the bunch, huh? The only single one on the crew. Well, our producer's single too, isn't he? And our director. Stay with us, single or not.
Back to action here in the Chargers division as we've had a couple of spins here and brought out the yellow flag. Randy DeBrule still on the point, followed by Hendrick, Raley, Laney, Smith, and Pistone.
We haven't seen Coy Gibbs on the tour in a while. I bet one of the reasons why is because the NHRA bunch has been doing 3 weeks in a row on the West Coast, and Coy heavily involved in his father's drag racing operations. We go back to green. Tommy Pistone.
Attack taxi cab looking entry, riding in 5th place right now, getting ready to come in and do battle with Marcus Smith and Laney and Gordon Rayleigh. There's Smith in the 87.
Down into turn number 1.
What I was going to say earlier, Tom Pistone and Bruton Smith were watching this race together last week. And it got real excited over on the sidelines there.
A couple of previous winners there in the 17 app and the 87. Rayleigh still looking for his first win here at CMS under the lights. Could be a night. I would make the drive back to Louisiana a little bit easier to take one.
It sure would. And Laney has been a previous winner already this year. He's going to take Gordon Rayleigh going into the turn.
No, and he pushes him off the line, and here comes Marcus Smith and Pistone. Well, that ride is getting a lot longer now for Gordon Rayleigh.
That's like getting out of the draft there for a second, Ralph. You move over, everybody comes by you like you're in a school bus.
Well, we've said that about this. Wow, Gordon Rayleigh runs it in deep. Nicely done, Gordon.
He found the brake pedal, though.
Oh, and he's finding the infield. 700 and how many miles?
It just got longer.
Oh, man.
Just got longer for Gordon Rayleigh.
Not for this man here, Randy DeBrule.
One good thing, though, he doesn't tow that car. He rents it and it stays up here. So at least he doesn't have to pull that car all the way back down.
Pretty good idea.
To Louisiana.
Well, Gordon's going to do everything he can not to go down a lap. Here's a replay. As the caution comes out, he tries to avoid Marcus Smith. That's what gets him right there.
Marcus got a little askew there coming off the turn, and he and Gordon made some contact. Gordon Rayleigh gets the worst of it.
I don't think they hit, Doug. I think he just swerved to avoid Marcus, and you know these cars are pretty twitchy. See, they're pretty close there. I think if he had touched him, he'd have broken that right front suspension.
Come out there. The car's not damaged, though. It's okay. I think the bigger question might be if he stayed on the lead lap or not. He's in the agribusiness. They do a lot of work with all the farmers down in northeastern Louisiana. Long haul come up here to Charlotte to race on a Tuesday night.
I'm just waiting. I figured agribusiness, aggravate. I figured you were going somewhere with that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Give me time. That's fertile ground, and it's...
Thank you. I feel much better now.
Good. I always like to deliver the payoff there. Always leave them wanting more.
Yeah, or less, the case may be. Well, there's some.
There's a souvenir.
Is that Roger Slack, Brian?
I don't think that is. I don't think Roger sprints like that.
It's got enough race park souvenirs. Green flag waving with 11 to go. 3 wide into 1.
That's Laney going to the inside. The 17 got the great restart. He's still riding second, though, behind DeBrule.
That was a big move. He'll pick up that second place position now. Can Ricky Hendrick bounce back? He's lost the top 2.
Randy DeBrule in a car that Dave Price will later bring on out for another feature event tonight on the point. And as we told you earlier, no points in the Chargers. They're racing for experience and trophies. And I think that's a good idea. You don't need to bring another factor into the play when you're really just trying to learn how to handle a race car and how to react in race time situations.
Ricky Hendrick trying to figure out what to do now that he's dropped back to 3rd. How does he regain those 2 spots with a handful of laps to go? And we got another one in the infield. That's the 4 car.
That's Scott Lawson, Mickey Lawson's son, over in the infield grass here in the Charger division.
The attack back entry.
Now, Mickey, his dad was talking to me. He said, I've been racing pretty much all my life, dragsters, everything else. Scott didn't really get interested until Mickey bought a Legends card. He said, all of a sudden, he said, hey, this looks like fun. So Scott's gotten the racing bug finally after all these years. He's a student down at USC. I guess I should clarify that. That's South Carolina.
Yes, you should, since we're live in California tonight. Marcus Smith trying to hold off Pistone. You think Bruton and Tiger sitting together again tonight?
They might have a bench staked out over there on the sideline somewhere. Of course, Tom Pistone has been helping Marcus set up his car, and I think setup is so important in any race machine. You can be the best driver in the world. You take a car out there that won't turn when you go into the turns. There's only so much you can do with it.
Tommy's got him now. He's got that inside line. Can he hold it? No. But I think this racetrack, more than any other that we've seen lately with these Legends cars, setup is so important to be able to get on that bottom and stay there.
If you're off just a little bit, you're going to move outside when you come off the turn, and people will sweep right up underneath you.
Well, I got another one around there.
It's a battle, I think, about for 4th position here. There's your leader, Randy DeBrule.
The 84 car going a lap down behind him. That's Brian Lee.
Laney in second, and Hendrick.
Reed Paget was the car that had spun earlier. Oh, there's a couple together. The 32 car belongs to Steve Thompson, and the other one, the 7, is that the 7S of Justin Snow?
Sure is. Thompson and Snow together there. I don't think they got into the wall real hard, but they kind of got locked up together and skittered across the racetrack.
Taking a while to get these 20 laps in here tonight, 25 laps in here tonight. Here's a look at what happened. Snow just turns down in there. Thompson's already there. The 11 car involved in it. That's Reed Paget's car there.
Ricky Bash did a pretty good job of avoiding all that mess as he scooted by in the 92 machine. There's Steve.
Thinking that was Jeff Matthews, and maybe that had spun earlier. The other 11 couldn't see the colors on the side. Well, Rick.
I guess in all the years we've been racing, that's the first time we had a car go upside down other than here in Charlotte in the Busch race. So it's not a great feeling to watch anybody go end over end.
Let's go back. We're going green flag.
Thank you, Mark, as we are going green flag. I think that's the most casual I've ever seen Rick Hendrick. And we're about to wrap this one up because there's only 2 laps to go. I think one this time by DeBrule in front of Laney. I think DeBrule's got the stuff here tonight.
DeBrule's pretty much shown him the rear bumper of his car throughout the night, and he's got a good line here, and he should get this. And it's going to be a good run for Laney, too, who's also had a feature win this year.
Coming to the checkered flag, and Ricky Hendrick will hold on for 3rd. DeBrule will get the win. There's the battle for 4th. Bruton Smith has the upper hand over Tom Pistone tonight. His son Marcus beats Tommy. There's Randy DeBrule, your winner of the Charger division. When we come back, we got plenty more racing for you live from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Results: Marcus Smith, Tom Pistone round out the top 5, and down now to Mark Arrow. There's a look at some of the field right there. The semi-pro cars, Jimmy Sainz and the 00.
Guy that's been tough in the semi-pros all year long, Ronnie Austin, and look for Ronnie to be a threat to win it again tonight in the 02. He's gotten his car repaired. It was beaten up from the last couple of weeks, but he's back with a nice-looking race car.
There's a good look at rows 1 and 2 as we move on back to row number 3. E.B. Jackson, Ronnie Austin, Wayne Austin, Ronnie's brother, will be in row 4. On to row 5, Chuck Spicer and Greg Herlocker. That's a pretty good row. Hoyt Demas in that Z98-3. Keep an eye on him. He always comes to the front. Row 7, Ray Carey, a heat race winner earlier this year. Billy Gomez, who's a regular on the tour. Freddie Lancaster and Bill Jarvis up in row 8. All the way back in row 10, George Potter. A little surprising to see George way back there. Here's your points in semi-pro.
Bill Jarvis, that's pretty tight, Ralph. Only a 15-point spread between 3rd and 1st, and you get 20 points for winning, so conceivably we could see the point lead change rather easily here tonight.
We'll be green next time by. John Freeman in the 5F, who is on the pole, owns a car stereo business here in the Charlotte area. And he told me he is building a boombox car made out of a Legends car. You know those cars with all the stereos in it? They had to make the engine smaller than normal so they could put all the batteries to drive the stereo into the front. We'll be racing green here. Freeman's going to lead him down the backstretch. Jimmy Sides comes up inside of Ryan Stanley.
Jimmy giving that big one a ride tonight.
Hey, one of the Austin cars.
Ronnie.
Take a shortcut.
Okay, that's taking the express lane home there for Ronnie Austin.
Ronnie Austin, if I'm not mistaken, picking up a checker flag with us last week. Stanley behind Sides, Freeman out front. Here's a look at Austin going around.
Now, Austin's won a couple of races. She got a little help there as the 2 car of Tim Bolton got into the rear end of it.
Ronnie already thinking about out where to get back on. You saw him looking.
That was pretty good. I mean, he was really concentrating and never lost his poise there.
That was good car control, because when you get down in that grass, that car tends to really get away from you. Freeman said we'll see that boombox car, by the way, just about the last Summer Legends Shootout Series race here on Sports South. It's not a race car, but it's a show car. We'll get to crank up the tunes.
John's taking this a little serious. He brought a backup car to the track tonight. He brought the car that he usually drives over at Concord with here tonight, just in case he ran into problems in the qualifying race, because he's so involved in the points chase.
Well, I told you about Hoyt Demas. Keep an eye on him. There's your Z98.3 right in the middle, battling his way to the front. Here's your leaders. Nothing changing there, but a lot of action behind him.
Backup car. I can't get over that.
Chuck Spicer, the 24 KT, about to maybe go down a spot as Demas gets to the inside. No. Spicer cuts him off. Austin behind him. This is the battle for 6th.
There's some good racers right here. Chuck Spicer giving it a good run tonight.
Pretty good PR
Demas
people,
there.
too.
Yeah. Wayne Austin in the 44 back there.
That's the battle for 7th as we get it from scoring now. Hoyt, he's got him. Watch out, Hoyt, because coming up on your inside is the Austin entry.
Ronnie thought about 3 wide there for just a millisecond, and then he backed out of it.
It's about as long as you got as you thunder down that front straightaway, headed for turn number 1. The 17 sitting right in the middle of all that. It's David Tucker. Somebody gets together in there. Dave is going to pick up a whole bunch of slots. Here's your leaders. Jimmy Sides, the man who sells Peterbilt trucks for a living and drives a minuscule Legends car for fun.
That's opposite ends of the spectrum.
I'm thinking.
Sides, we've documented one of the few metal body cars. Not many of those left.
That's the other Austin entry, the other 44, Wayne.
It's a battle for 5th here.
The 23 car is E.B. Jackson and Hoyt Demas in that Z98.3.
Wayne Austin working on Hoyt Jackson, and right in front of them, Tim Bolton. And here goes Hoyt Demas, takes that spot away. They're trying to.
Bolton's a car up, way up in front there, the yellow, white, and blue entry.
Takes that Chick-fil-A car and moves it right around.
Have you seen the side of his rig?
Pretty neat.
Oh boy, I'm telling you, it just looks like Earnhardt's Cup rig. You know, they have those picture stickers or whatever they are they put on the side of the big Winston Cup rigs. He's got his Legends car blasting out of the side of his rig.
He has his own postcards, Ralph.
Scary thought.
They're nice looking too.
I'm sure they are. John Freeman. Oh, and guess what? Hoyt Demas continues to charge. He puts Jarvis away. Now it's Bolton who's going after. Well, when you run like Hoyt, and you can attract a sponsor like Chick-fil-A, I guess you can do stuff like this.
You can.
Here's what happened. Jarvis went wide, lost the front.
Hoyt takes advantage of it.
Yes, he does.
A lot of other guys want to take advantage of it too. The Austin cousins back there going at it.
Jarvis slipping backwards. Now Chuck Spicer gets in there.
I told you before, Chuck, the PR guy for Petty Enterprises, handles all the press release and media relations. Driver Bobby Hamilton.
The one person who's probably happy to see the fan appreciation tour come to an end. All the work he had to do. Here's the battle for 2nd. Look at this one heating up. Ryan Stanley coming after Jimmy Sides.
Jimmy Sides in the 00. Ryan Stanley working on him in that yellow number 44. We have 2 44s tonight, a blue and a yellow. Stanley right here goes to the outside of Sides. Jimmy with one of the sedan models of the Legends cars.
Boy, Ryan gets right up on him, but he can't do anything with him, can he?
Jimmy's got that inside groove working. He's really not giving him much to do, and I'm sure John Freeman's appreciating all this, because if Sides gets real busy back here with Stanley, gives him an advantage. But
Look out, John. Here comes Jimmy Sides. The Peterbilt salesman trucks on up to front.
Looks like John's car is
it's off.
way off. He can't hold it in a straight line.
Something has gone awry with the 5F.
I'd like to find out what that is. I don't know if he's got a tire going down, but he is struggling just to keep it straight on the straightaways.
Maybe the CD player jam. Here's the battle for 4th, and Demas has got another one. He gets to the inside of Bolton, but Bolton charges back.
Both of these guys have won feature events here this year, and Nice tit for tat there.
Yeah, Demas, he diamonded off the corner, got on the brakes, waited, the door opened up, and he slid right in there. Good patience.
Hoyt Demas picks up that spot, takes it away, and they're only about a straightaway back from the leaders.
And what a battle for the lead we got going. Jimmy Sides and Ryan Stanley.
And John Freeman lurking back in third. Whatever was troubling him, Ralph seems to have a little bit better handle on it now.
Freeman has won like 8 races over at Concord, the big fast half mile. He comes over here to Charlotte, and things like this happen to him.
He crashed here winning a race on the last lap. He was on the white flag lap and had a crash that cost him a victory here this year.
Here's that battle for 4th again. What a hot one this is. And the battle for the lead, not any cooler.
Sides and Stanley. Stanley takes a peek to the outside. He'll have to drive that thing low into the turn. Can't get the line. Jimmy Sides holds him off one more time.
No, I thought he was going to get him inside.
Lost a lot of ground. Gave up about 4 car lengths. That may be all it takes for Jimmy Sides to win this one tonight.
Well, it takes about a lap to make up all the ground you lost. Here's a look at the nudge.
Sides held his ground nicely.
The pass for 4th just takes place as Bolton takes that over, but they got a lap to go. Traffic comes into play. Here's your leaders off of 2. Down the backstretch, Stanley loses some ground. Just 2 corners to go for Jimmy Sides. Sides slides up a little bit. Stanley tries to get to the outside. Nothing doing. Jimmy Sides waves as he takes the checker, and Hoyt Demas takes 4th away from Tim Bolton. 3rd place goes to John Freeman, who holds on in the 5F. Semi-Pro Division win goes to Jimmy Sides. A Peterbilt truck salesman wins the Legends Car Race. There's a look at the results from the Semi-Pro feature as we work our way through the top 10. Back half of the top 10. Chuck Spicer comes home in 8th. And our top 2 drivers are standing by. Back at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, getting set to go racing, and tonight's Pro Division starting grid is brought to you by Kendall Motor Oil. 25 laps for the Pro Division cars. John Craig and G.E. Chapman are on the front row. Greg Schultz and Chuck
Gafera.
Thank you. We'll make up row number 2. Harry Graham, helmet painter extraordinaire Doug Vandenbrink in row 3. David Wagner and Jeff Craig in row 4. Danny Curley, Jack Campata, Tommy Rape. We've been waiting for more things out of him this summer, and Eddie Baldwin in row 6. Sam Trivet, Jim Henley, Rod Curley, Kevin Conway back there in row 8. Lots of good things out of that youngster in the Ron Shue Imports car. Here's your points, Doug.
G.E. Chapman with a 7-point advantage over Brian Sockwell, who is not here tonight. Brian was suspended for a race after a late race incident. You might have saw the fisticuffs that resulted. Doug Vandenbrink, Greg Schultz, John Craig round out the top 5. There's Chuck Gafera, and Chuck, of course, very busy young man. He works for the U.S. Air number 77 Jasper Engines team. That's Bobby Hillen's ride this year. He's the fab man, and on race day, he is the left tire changer. Talked to him. He's not been running as well as he did last year, and he said been spending more time with the Winston Cup race effort than have been with the Legends car.
Green flag is out. We're racing Pro Division cars at Charlotte. Contact in turn number 1, 2, 3 cars involved.
Didn't take long for all of that to develop. You saw Jack Campata in the 10. He was able to avoid all of that mess and get away from it, but several others were not so fortunate.
Including Jim Henley, who was at red, white, and blue number 7 right there.
And I believe that's Doug Vandenbrink that's up here in the 7.
No, that's Conway.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's right. You are. That's Doug Vandenbrink right there. You're right.
And he just bought that car. He just bought that car from Hoyt Demas, and not the way to break it in as a car owner there.
12 involved. That's David Wagner, who was involved in the post-race excursion with Brian Sockwell last week.
Well, as you heard David, though, say at the top of the show, all of that's behind him. They talked that out. They're fine, and I'm glad to hear that.
There's Doug Vandenbrink right there getting ready to take off his helmet.
And I talked to Brian for a good while today. He says, never did anything like that before. Don't know why I did at that particular time. Let's go down to Mark Arrow.
A little note on Eddie Baldwin there in the back of the pack. You know, we've talked from time to time about some of the interesting things that they have put for signs on the dash. Sort of, I guess the main word everybody seems to put there is think. Well, Eddie Baldwin has taken it a step further, staring him straight in the face, get in, sit down, shut up, and hang on. Pretty good advice.
7, Doug Vander.
If he'll take it, he'll do okay. There's Vandenbrink's car on the Tommy Hook. Now, Ralph, I saw Tommy McCoy, who developed the Tommy Hook, has now done a mock-up of this for Winston Cup cars. He actually has a working model, and they took it over to Chuck Ryder's shop and lifted a Winston Cup car with it. And they're going to bring it out and hook it to a record and see if it'll work. Let's go down to Mark Garrow.
Well, we're with Doug Vanderbrink. Short night. Got to be disappointed.
Well, yeah, it is. I mean, it's very disappointing. We've had a tough time the past couple of weeks, but we've got a new sponsor coming on board next week, and we're going to debut a brand new car, and you know, things are only going to look up for us. We won last week. We had a mechanical last week. We went to Concord. We won there. We had a crash this time that somebody came to the inside and just cleaned us out. So, you know, we'll have a new car next week. We'll come back. We'll win some more races, and we'll get back in this points deal for sure.
He had wanted to race. Now he's just a spectator as we go back to green.
More contact as we go down into turn number 1. Everybody shuffling for a position. G.E. Chapman riding up to the inside of John Craig. Wow, lots of contact as we go down the front straightaway.
Bumped at least twice, maybe 3 times, and they go at it again. And here comes Greg Schultz.
And Gaffar and the 43 of Barry Graham, and everybody waiting to pounce on these two.
So G.E. Chapman is now on the point, and I believe that's John Craig now riding in the second place spot.
Look at this. All kinds of contact up and down the front straightaway. And it continued into turn number 1.
Just didn't want to give up the battle there, and that let Greg Schultz come up in there. Barry Graham was back there in the 43 machine. He's dropped back to about 6th place now. Jeff Craig's also up near the front, the 99 car.
Things finally setting out a little bit as they go single file with the top 4. Battle for second place heats up a little bit as Schultz tries to reel in John Craig.
Schultz has won a feature this year, working on John Craig. Far right back there behind him, working his way, holding down the 4th place spot. It's a good battle here for these positions as Schultz is now moved within about a half a car length of John Craig.
Schultz locks up the brakes. Craig doing his best to stay calm and hold him off. Schultz faking to the inside. He's got to be careful because Gaffar is right there.
What all of this is doing is really letting G.E. Chapman here stretch out his advantage. G.E.'s good enough that he doesn't need much of a break to get away.
Oh, there's contact coming off of 4.
Saw the trail of sparks come off John Craig's car.
Gaffar has to get hard on the brakes because he knows Schultz is going to cut down on him.
Schultz hanging on to that 3rd place spot behind Craig. 2 pretty good drivers here, Ralph. These guys are capable of pretty close contact.
Greg Schultz runs on one of the smallest budgets I've seen, and look at the fender coming off of Craig. The left rear fender is about to come off on the 1C, and I think Schultz is going to try to pounce on that. See it?
I don't know how much longer they'll let him stay out there. That's probably not hurting his performance all that bad.
Could rub on the tire.
Don't see any smoke coming off of it yet, though. We'll be building up.
Come on now, I was trying to build a story here. Go with me. Go with me on this.
Work with me, people.
John Craig doing a great job.
He He's got to hear that thing dragging along the ground behind him. Schultz can't get around him. Craig's been able to hold the line. The traffic's backing up behind him.
The 99 is right behind them. That's Jeff Craig. And right behind Jeff Craig is the 07 of Conway, who's reeled them in. There's that battle. And that's been a heated one because Kevin Conway came a long way to get to the front.
And Kevin Conway is still driving with a broken right foot, no cast on it. He's got a big block of foam rubber sitting in there, and that's playing with pain.
Mark?
Kevin Conway was also playing with no brakes during the heat race. They were about to put the car on the trailer. They simply could not find the problem. They changed the master cylinder. They bled the lines. They checked everything they could, and they were going to load it up. They couldn't get any brakes. Then Tom Pistone came over, gave them a hand. They found the brakes, and it appears they also found the handle. He's having a pretty good run.
Well, he just ran it in a little too deep into turn one. The Ron Shoe Imports backed car getting a pretty good run tonight. But Conway's going to have to fight a little bit harder to regain a couple of spots. Here's your leader, G.E. Chapman. Look how big the lead is up front for him.
You can read a short story between the time it takes for him to come across the start-finish line and the second-place car shows up.
There it is. There's Schultz. Here's your battle for third. Gaffar and Craig going at it. That fender's still sitting on there.
It's hanging on by a thread, but it's managed to stay attached to the race car. It's about the best we've seen Chuck run this season.
Well, you know, and I think it's only because, as you said earlier, because he hasn't been with us much. If he had a chance to run with us on a lot more regular basis, he'd probably do a lot better.
And he said he'd been really busy working with the 77 crew, the Jasper Engines team. Of course, going to get real busy here soon as they're heading up to Indy. Let's go back down to Mark Arrow.
Yellow flag has just come out again. I believe it's for some debris on the racetrack. Chuck Gaffar, that is currently in the fourth spot. We've talked about it earlier this season. He came within just a breath of winning the championship last year on the Summer Legends Shootout to John Crow as he came in the second spot. This year, been nothing but frustration. He has 2 fourth-place finishes. That is the best that he has done all season. And he told me tonight he desperately wanted to at least to finish one position better than that. He's currently certainly in the hunt for third.
When he was 9 years old, he received his very first go-kart, and he got the racing bug at that point. That's pretty early on to get infected with that.
Speaking of go-karts, I hear you were quite the rookie racer here this afternoon with the Speedway staff. Did you guys bid fond farewell to one Edward Gossage, who's making his way west?
Yeah, Eddie Gossage, the vice president of PR here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, is now the general manager at Texas Motor Speedway, and he's going to run the operations out there. And they had a little going-away deal for him at the Slick Track go-kart track just up the road. And I don't know if rookie racer or maybe wrecking racer would be a better title for me. So Eddie didn't win his own feature race, though. So
I heard you didn't even qualify for the feature. What's up with that?
Nothing up with that. Lack of talent there. Just there's nobody lining up to sign me up after today's driving exhibition.
Lack of something.
I just couldn't keep it pointed forward. That was my problem.
You couldn't keep
I couldn't make that thing turn. I think the boys in the shop need to work on my car a little bit more.
Well, they call it a slick track, Doug. Green flag is waving. We're racing.
I knew there was a reason.
Yeah, and to think that you're supposed to be our expert commentator here tonight. Down the back stretch. Will that fender hold on for John Craig? Can he hold off Chuck Gaffar for third?
G.E. Chapman just really has this field dialed in with a half a dozen laps to go.
Boy, does he ever. The other Craig entry, the 99, coming on strong here in the closing stages.
As we told you before, G.E. business really is Legends cars. He works on Legends car engines, prepares the motors for these cars, gets them ready, rebuilds them. So he really knows the inner workings of these machines.
Whoa! Big contact in turn number 1.
Jeff Craig and Chuck Gaffar go around.
Debris is left on the racetrack. That'll bring out the yellow for G.E. Chapman.
G's just got to keep wondering, you know, I've got the car. I've got these guys beat tonight. If we can ever get to the finish, I'll have this thing won.
Chuck Gaffar Good thing he's a fabricator. Craig just ran right into him, didn't he? Too much speed down the straightaway.
A little bit too much at the end of the turn there and got into Chuck.
Chuck was just in the wrong spot.
And Jeff Craig in the 99 spins it around, and Chuck Cafaro in the 3C spins out.
One more look.
Hope he's good at working with fiberglass. Three different looks at that accident, and no matter how you look at it, it's bad news for Chuck Cafaro each time.
Well, Mark Garrow's down there with the driver who knows what it's like to be on the Tommy Hook.
He sure does. Daryl Jackson's going to start 8th in the Masters race. If you look at this car, it's been wiped out twice this week. These black marks here along the side is when a car jumped up over him. This is tire mark. It came across there, came into here, tore off the mirror, actually got inside the driver compartment. And Daryl Jackson, friends, and crew have been working night and day all week long, haven't they?
Yeah, we've had a lot of people work on the car, and I hope everybody tightened up everything. We're going to find out. I think we got it worked out, and we hope we'll have a good finish. And don't have any more wrecks.
What does it feel like to have all of a sudden have a tire stuffed through the window?
It's pretty scary. It happened real quick, and before I realized what was going on, I was into the wall, so it was real quick.
These guys have worked really hard. You can see they didn't have time for the cosmetics. They just had to make sure they had 4 tires and 4 fenders before they got to Charlotte tonight.
Twice in 6 days he totaled that car, and look at the cosmetics on this one.
He needs to borrow some of Daryl's duct tape there to hook that fender on with.
Daryl told me it takes about 3 days to put one of these back together. There you see the 07 car of Kevin Conway, who started dead last. He's running up to 5th.
Pretty good with a guy that has a broken right foot. He has his driving shoe on, but it's unlaced. It's not hooked up at all. He can't wear a regulation shoe right now.
What would you say if I suggested we do a Legends car division that would allow young drivers or rookie drivers, almost similar to the Charger division, a big boost prestige-wise to grow through the Legends ranks and move on from there?
I would say, brilliant idea, Ralph. And
I just wish I'd come up with it, because Opie Wheeler mentioned that earlier today. Sounds like a pretty good idea, and one that we should keep our eyes on in the future here.
Let's come up with something to give more young people, truly youngsters, a chance to get into a Legends car and show their stuff and hone their talent.
It's a great idea, and I'm sure knowing Humpy, it'll come to fruition. Green flag.
Good word.
Like that? Yes. Green flag. What was the word?
Fruition.
Backstretch. Backwards up pit road.
There's Jack Campata moving up in there. And they
slid nicely in the 4th, didn't he? The Husqvarna back car.
Come right up through there nicely.
Watch out for Kevin Conway, though, right behind him in the Ron Shoe entry.
John Craig, Jack Campata going at it out there tonight, putting on a good show here.
Just behind this battle is Kevin Conway, who's been getting hammered on by the 01. Last couple of laps, Eddie Baldwin has been pounding on the backside of Kevin Conway, and Conway's been fending him off, and that's Barry Graham and the Richard Petty lookalike car right behind that.
There's Kevin Conway in the 07. He's holding his line, pretty much going along unaffected here, even though they've been going at it pretty tenaciously here.
Here's Graham. Here's the leaders. White flag is out. G.E. Chapman and Greg Schultz going to battle it out. This is the most pressure G.E. Chapman has had throughout this whole race.
And Schultz just wiggled the car, and there's Campata and John Craig.
That's your battle for 3rd. Back to the leaders, coming off of 4. Here comes G.E. Chapman. He earned it. He's going to get it. Greg Schultz, a nice finish in 2nd. Craig, with the fender flying in the air, gets 3rd. Campata holds on for 4th. Kevin Conway will be credited with 5th. We'll be back with our winner, G.E. Chapman, right after this. And the Masters still to come. We're back to Charlotte. Here's the results from the Pro Division. G.E. Chapman, Greg Schultz, John Craig, Jack Campata, Kevin Conway with a great run from dead last. All the way back to the top 10, and Brian Sockwell sees those points slip away. Trophies for the winners. The Summer Legends Shootout Series. Masters next. We're back to the Charlotte Motor Speedway where our Master Division cars are getting ready to go. Don Whitaker and Mike Wyke in row number 1. Dave Price and Jimmy Hines. Price in a car that's already won here tonight. Making our way back through the rest of the groups. We see back in row 4, Daryl Jackson. That beat-up car is going to give it a run in row 4. And in row 5, back behind that, Danny Boss. Keep your eyes on him. Ralph Medal and Tommy McCoy. Tommy McCoy in the 300. That's a new ride for Tommy, if I'm not mistaken. Bill Cranfield, Dan Hamrick. Here's your points.
Well, I hate it for Brian. I would rather be out here racing him, but, you know, I know sometimes things happen.
Let's go.
Green flag is out. We're racing. Jackson, Boss, they're all looking for a spot. Whitaker up front, but here comes Mike Wyke.
Mike Wyke in the silver 7 on the outside. Punchy Whitaker in the yellow 64. And that's Dave Price back there in the 10R working his way into 3rd.
And James Hines in 4th in the 11J. Oh, Mike Wyke gets airborne. Loses 3 spots, slides into 4th.
Mike's been our most frequent winner this year on the Summer Legends Shootout Series.
The Masters Division, for those of you that have never watched it before, are for drivers over the age of 40. You'd never know it by their aggressive style.
Say that with such conviction. Well, they're not capable of doing much else. It's good division.
Oh, more action. We get more cars up into the air.
That's Dave Price in the 10R.
Boy, everybody has gone up and over one side of Punchy Whitaker or another. And he's going to get knocked out of this just because of all the damage he's going to have suffered.
Of course, we saw that car win a little bit earlier tonight.
That was a 10R with Randy DeBrule. Yeah.
And Dave Price takes it over and runs into misfortune.
Look at what happens to Punchy here. Price to the inside. They get together. Somebody gets airborne, knocking those fenders off. Well, we saw what can be done with loose fenders. Let's see what Punchy Whitaker can do with it. We saw what happened to John Craig. He's getting lots of heat now from James Hines. There you see the smoke, and that one is rubbing, Doug.
Big time.
Let's see what those BF Goodrich Contiers can take.
Get James Hines back there in the 11, and Mike Wyke.
Well, we got another one around. The 4 car, Mickey Lawson.
Mickey Lawson is to be blamed for supplying Wrecker Boy with his cape earlier tonight.
He should be banned from the series as far as I'm concerned.
Punchy Whitaker on the point. Punchy, a previous winner this season also here in the Masters Division. James Hines and Mike Wyke.
Looks like it's Langston in the 19 who's running behind them in 4th. James Hines and Mike Wyke watching very intently to see if that rubbing fender does anything to Whitaker's car and how it handles, and then they'll pounce on him as soon as they get a chance.
That's Tom Langston back there out of Timmonsville, South Carolina, convenience store owner, operator, regular competitor.
Here he comes. He's got him. He pushes him wide. Whitaker loses the traction, and James Hines and Mike Wyke slide through.
Mike, of course, collects money that he finds. And he only keeps the change if he finds it heads up. He has $2.13 glued to the inside of his car now.
He also collects trophies with that car as he wins quite often here in the Summer Legends Shootout Series.
Got that right.
Thank you. Oh, this is going to be a classic here tonight. We've seen these drivers finish side by side. We've seen them finish with one going backwards. We've seen them finish in every way you could possibly imagine. James Hines and Mike Wyke setting up another one. There's Langston. He runs in 4th, and behind him is Bost. Now the R22 is Jay Barber. I didn't get a good look to see who the other one was. 66, I think it's Billy Gomez that was running with him. That's for 4th with Langston and Bost.
Danny Bost in the red car working on Tom Langston as they go down into the corner. Bost will come up on him and can't do anything this time. He's got a better line on the backstretch here.
Leaders off of 4th.
It's James Hines on the point. Mike Wyke working him for every lap. Only a dozen to go here.
Mike's going to push him, but he's not going to do anything crazy yet.
Well, Mike Hines want to protect that point lead. He has a 10-point advantage right now, and even if he finishes in second, he might be thinking big picture racing. Well, maybe not.
I don't think so. I think he's going to wait, take a shot with him as we start winding this one down, unless the door really opens up.
Bunch of Whitaker, even though he's got that loose fender, still flirting around back there in that third position. You can see his car just come into the screen here. Hines and White going at it. Punchy Whitaker and Tom Langston back there in fourth. Tom Langston told me that he has been in over 300 feature Legends car races. That's a bunch of laps.
Well, and seat time does a lot for these drivers in these cars, because you got to have the experience behind the wheel to know how the car handles what it does.
I think what makes that incredible, Ralph, is they've only really been racing these things competitively for about 3 years now. To have 300 races under your belt, that's spending a lot of time at the racetrack.
Well, we talked about guys. There's DeBrule, or the new car, the new driver of the 10R, Dave Price. That's the battle for 7th. The 63 is Bud Lewis.
He's coming back from some adversity here early on, is Dave Price.
Doing a pretty good job with it, too.
Dave, real soft-spoken guy, but does a pretty good job once he gets out of that car and starts wheeling it around. He sets up cars for other drivers, too, including Bill Jarvis.
Battle for the lead. Gets into slow traffic. Now, that could be a problem here. Bill Cranfield is the one who they're going to have to try to get around first. He moves to the outside, less than leaders through.
I can think of all the guys that want to race out here and have filling up my rearview mirror. Mike White's not the one I want to do it. He finds a way to win.
Here's Whitaker and Langston battling for third.
Whitaker's been able to hang on to third spot with that damaged race car. As you can see that left rear fender flapping as he goes along the back stretch.
That was tough for you, wasn't it?
That was a
fender
lot.
flapping, yeah. Lots of contact going on down there. That is superb car control by those two.
Well, Hines knows he has a lot of confidence in Mike White, and that lets him drive a little bit better. He knows Mike's not going to do anything cheap to him, that if he gets around him, he'll do it the right way.
3 to go. All right. Who you taking? I'm going with Hines, or Mike White.
Going with the 7.
I'm going with the 7,
This
bud.
is a battle back here for fourth. Whitaker and Bost. Bost gets sideways.
Oh, look at Whitaker. He is having a great night. A big tip of the hat to him for surviving this with all that damage to that car. Here they go. White and Hines. Side by side, down into 3. Load your VCR if you haven't done it already. I guarantee you these two are going to give you quite a finish as we get into the final lap here of round number 7 for the Summer Legends Shootout Series. Down the backstretch, and White goes to the outside.
James Hines has the preferred line coming into the final turn.
Will they stay there? White tries to squeeze to the outside, can't do it. James Hines wins it. Langston gets 3rd, Whitaker gets 4th. Boss taps him from behind and takes 5th. Well, guess I should have picked Hines. We'll be back. Going to have some interviews for us down in Victory Lane in just a minute, but first we're going to show you the results of our last race. Jamie Hines holds on and beats Mike White this week. Langston, Whitaker, and Boss with a tremendous finish for the top. Tonight's best move is brought to you by Gatorade, and it was this right here. Actually, it was 25 laps worth just about. James Hines on the right, holding off Mike White for the win in the Masters Division. Our next show is next Tuesday, the first one in August. And a visit with Rusty Wallace. Don't want to miss that. For Doug Rice, Mark Garrow, Record Boy, I'm Ralph Sheen. See you Tuesday.